Live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com.
You are listening to the Amigo Show, brought to you by Miami Princess Hotel. You can call the show 954-990-0036. You can reach the show on Twitter at The Amigo Show. It's time for the Amigo Show on SoFloRadio.com.
Morning, South Florida, 9 a.m. Oh, goodness gracious. Every Saturday that we say that, we're 1 week closer to football season. Holy Toledo. Can't freaking wait. I actually caught myself watching a preseason game of zero value, might I add. The Seattle Seahawks were playing, I want to say, the Chargers last night. And I actually sat and watched the game. Now, the worst part about it is not only is it a preseason game, it goes against everything I've ever said in reference to liking preseason games. I'll go one step further. The Seahawks were up at the time 27-7 in this game that doesn't count. And there I was just staring aimlessly into the TV. We're that much closer. The Amigo Show brought to you by Miami Princess Hotel, at you each and every Saturday morning from 9 to noon right here on SoFloRadio.com. Lot to talk about, lot to get to. We're going to do very high level. We're going to gloss over some things, see if I can get some reactions from you on the phone lines, 954-990-0036. We invite your comments on Twitter as well, at The Amigo Show. You can shoot them at me, at The Amigo, or of course, my very humble producer, at Frank the Tank 305. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning. Good morning, Larry, and our favorite hello. Good morning, LeBron.
Oh, hey, good morning, LeBron. Pati, toma, do. Right across the face. Remember, we're not talking about him anymore.
No, but we have to say hello.
We say hello each and every Saturday here as we get the show going.
We said we're going to make that a show.
Yeah, that's a staple. That's
right,
how we're going to open it, with the international love salute for him. I'm not going to give the same salute to our guest in this 9 o'clock hour, Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel. We'll talk a little Miami Dolphins football. I'm down on the Dolphins. You have to convince me that this Bill Lazor offense, and I know how Perkins is going to bring it. I know exactly what he's going to do. He will highlight some strong points and then tell me they're an average team. Remember, watch. I know he's not even listening yet. He will point out some strong points and tell me they're no better than 7 or 8 wins. Which will sort of quantify what I've said about them, because I think they suck.
It's the same thing every year.
Terrible. I don't even want to go to every year. I want to go to what we got this year. What is it?
Every year
What is
we
it
get
that makes us
promised 8-9
better?
wins,
What
8-9
is it
wins.
that makes the Miami Dolphins better in the AFC East than the Jets, than the Bills, than the Patriots?
I don't see anything because I see them as the worst team in the conference.
Or
in the division.
It was a rhetorical question.
Okay.
See, honestly, had I been a prepared radio host and had my machine up and running, correct? That's my fault. That's not your fault, because your producer was ready today. Talent was a little bit, upset that McDonald's screwed up the order, amazed and talking to you ad nauseum about the 12-year-old Monet Davis. Right? That's her last name, Davis?
Yeah, Davis.
Who throws... Yes! 12-year-old girl, first female to win a game in the Little League World Series. But here, the caveat to this little girl is that she's freaking Nolan Ryan. Struck out 8 yesterday?
I think it was more than that.
Was it more than that? Let's look it up, since I'm supposed to do my homework. Anyway, she's throwing the ball 70 miles an hour, ladies and gentlemen. I'll let that sit there as I let my McAfee here.
Yeah, she struck out 8. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 8 strikes.
My numbers, see? Straight. She struck out 8, but she blows him by him. Maybe not the best terminology right now, but still. She like if she's throwing 70 at 12, right? And the only other kids that throw 70 of that type of cheese, right? They're the let's just say it, the boys from Nebraska, the 6'2", 200-pounders. There's a one kid, 6'4", 229 in this one this year.
He's Puerto Rican.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking the Canes should be over there kind of scoping him out and getting a quick, an early letter of intent of some sort because he, my goodness, that's a big kid. So she's throwing that kind of gas, Frank. Come on now. What's the future hold in store? I told somebody last night that I think we were potentially watching the first female pitcher at a professional level. And he told me I was crazy.
I mean, I don't know how you can that's going to be interesting how you can mix the genders inside of a clubhouse because of the way the baseball thing is.
It's going to change baseball.
But that would be insane.
Woo! It would change baseball. Like, I would just sit back, rub my hands, and go, okay. Mr. New Commissioner, get yourself out of this one. Come on. She's throwing 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, she's a beast.
I may talk like she's gonna take over for LeBron as far as me with the wow factor right now. She throws. Listen, we're gonna. No, I always say we're gonna do something. We end up not doing it. I've been lazy this summer. Took a summer for myself. I apologize. But at some point, it would be really good and relevant if we were doing a daily show to get us to go to some park that has a speed gun. Because I guarantee you, Frank, you don't throw the ball 70.
Nah.
And I played ball for years. Not wiffle ball, not softball. I played baseball for years.
Well, I did too. And I still can't throw the ball 70
That's
right now.
You did play ball.
I played baseball all my life.
You did.
Yeah.
I didn't see it that way. I'm sorry. You did tell me that once.
But I know. Bro, look, let's just put it this way. At 12 years old, I went to Chicago, and I went to Six Flags, and they had a speed gun. I threw the ball 38 miles per hour.
70 miles per hour this little girl throws.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's amazing because at 12, I know I registered it, and it was about 38.
Phillies were smart. They tweeted at her. Hey, good job. You think I'm kidding? Look it up. Remember, she's from the Philadelphia area. So
Okay.
954-990-0036. So I'd love to get some commentary on that nonsense. I sprinkled in the Monet conversation a Miami Hurricane reference. Make no mistake. We will talk some Hurricanes football depth chart out. I was pretty impressed with the timing of how you got the depth chart. However, I was going to tell you, this is sounding awful. I apologize before I even say this. I'm such a pompous ass for doing this. And I'm not even doing it in a pompous way. But, the email was sitting in my box probably 5 minutes before you sent that. I don't mean that haha, I had it before you because I hadn't opened it. You broke the news to me, okay? So just, see, I did it. It wasn't pompous. But I was pretty impressed how quick you got that depth chart. And the only thing that stood out to me, everything else I had to really sit down, take out the glasses, roll up my sleeves and look, which I didn't really do. Just glanced over it. But the quarterback position.
Yep.
It's only 2 kids left.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see Mr. Olsen's name on there. Brad Kaya? Or is it?
Brad Kaya.
Brad Kaya. He's the freshman that would stand a lot to gain from being redshirted this year. You're starting to get my opinion on this already. The upside to using him would obviously be the development of a kid who, for better purposes, could be a 3 or 4 year starter. He has the talent to do it. He's showing some great things. There's nothing he's really doing wrong yet. I think the only thing that's wrong is that he's a freshman.
That's the only thing that people are looking down on.
Then you got this dude, Jake Heaps. 3rd college in 4 years, I guess, right?
Yep.
Remind me the other schools he went to?
BYU,
right?
And Kansas.
Football powerhouses. So guy hasn't really excelled at programs that are, let's just say, top tier. And I don't mean to bring that up with the Canes because we're not necessarily top tier either, but you look at this guy and you say, well, he's got something to prove. You want to maximize the talent of guys like Stacey Coley and Duke Johnson and some of the weapons on that offense. And then their defense, I'm sorry. the last 2 years have been strange. Last year was a little better than the year before. For some reason, I think Dallas Crawford going to that side of the football is going to make things very interesting for the Canes because he's flying around the field. He's knocking fools out. He's intercepting balls. And, he's trying to get, like, the guy's just all over the place.
Well, that was his original position in high school, right?
It was, but, like, I don't know how much you remember. Maybe you weren't. This isn't privy to you, but my friends know very well. I was a very big fan of his at the tight end position. Like, I really felt like.
At the tight end position or the running back position?
I mean, the running back position. I'm sorry. And he was a kid that, how can I put it to you? Like, it just warmed my heart to see him on that side of the football. Now they switch him over, and the guy's flying around the field. It was like they had been holding this guy back all along, right? And it's just amazing. I mean, what I'm hearing from practices is that this guy's just all over the place. So, was that the kind of person we needed to complement Perriman? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those things that if this defense can play better and we can learn to establish a running game within an offense with a quarterback that can minimize mistakes, I'm not talking about a team that runs the table. We have to worry about trying to win an ACC championship first, right?
Yeah.
But you're looking at a team that's going to be far more competitive than it has been over the last 2 years. And while the downside is that it could go miserably wrong because the defense hasn't improved, and that remains to be seen, I gotta think with some of the things going on right now on defense, with guys kind of growing up a little bit within the system, okay, and a couple of key guys in that defense in quarterback type positions, you know what I mean? Laying fools out and playing tough football. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of a sudden, I can quantify some of these people's reports that the Coastal Division belongs to the Kings this year. It's theirs to lose. 954-990-0036. As far as the quarterback position goes, Frank, if I were Al Golden, I'd go with Heaps. It's experience. We're tired of losing by 28 to FSU, right? It's time to kind of put it in the next gear. The strategy of let's cultivate the freshmen, think about it. We used that blueprint recently and more than once. And it doesn't necessarily, guarantee success. It guarantees 4 years as a starter.
Yeah, we're not in the competition to win a national championship this year by any stretch of the imagination. So we know that Kaya is going to be our future. So why not hold him just 1 year? Let him really gain some experience, at least at college atmosphere, because there's a lot of difference between the high school atmosphere in games and college atmosphere in games. And the first time he's going to really experience it is when he goes into Louisville, especially being the first game of the season for them, for everybody. Everybody's hungry for college football again. So I would start Heaps if I was Golden. As much as I want to see Kaya.
Well, then you've got a bunch of guys you can maneuver. You have guys with eligibility. You're not trying to screw with people's eligibility, but people that have to grow up, people that may want to stick around. It sorts things out. It allows you to let your best thinking sort itself out. If you use it's funny because none of those other guys were really ready. How long did you hear me bitch and moan and complain that I didn't think the Miami Hurricanes were going to be strong at quarterback and that I was concerned about how that would affect everything else? Because as much an advantage you have at the running back position with Duke, right?
Yeah.
You would lose it if you have a quarterback that's throwing more picks than touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
They can't get him the ball. That doesn't bring out confidence from that position. And maybe Kaya does that. I'm telling you, all I've heard about Kaya is great things. It's not like I've been out at camp. But let's put it in perspective. It's a fifth-year guy who's got something to prove. The only reason he's doing this fifth-year thing is the guy wants to play at the next level. So the only way he's going to be able to play at the next level is if he gets in there, he starts, slings the rock, and wins 10 or 11 games.
But there's a reason why he's gone through 3 schools in 4 years, right?
Very true.
Because he keeps on getting beat out at his previous job.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a level of concern.
Something's not right there. That's the only other concern.
And the thing between both quarterbacks that I've really heard a lot is we know that they're both not mobile, but Kaya's just a bit taller than Heaps, so he's not getting blocked at the line as much as Heaps is.
954-990-0036.
Here's a question for you. If we go into Louisville and we're down at the half, and you had started Heaps, do you pull Heaps?
No.
Even if it's something ridiculous like 35-3, like it was last year.
No.
What was the halftime score last year?
It was a lot to a little.
Exactly.
Don't remind me, please.
Well,
It was a wasted trip. It was horrible. It's terrible. Awful. Did I say how bad that was? What a horrible time I had.
I can only imagine. I was DJing a party. I turned it on ESPN3, and I was like, wow, shut this off.
That was terrible. So, we had such a great first segment, and then you bring that crap up. So, what was your Louisville question again? No, you don't change the quarterback. Whoever you go with, at least have the balls to stick to it, because if we're going to start playing ping-pong quarterback, we're never going to be good.
Golden needs that game.
Yeah, he does.
So if he's looking at it as, okay, we're down at a half, I think this kid, Kaya, is ready. We're just trying to go with the experience. Does he change the quarterback?
No, not in that first game. Like, that first game, his best thing is going to have to, when you bench quarterbacks, when you're down by 25, so I don't even want to think about that. But if they're getting blown out, bringing back Brock Berlin, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what I don't want to see? I don't want to see something that we have a 2-quarterback system. I don't want to see this whole Ja'Cory Marv switcheroo thing.
I don't want to
see that.
I think that would be garbage. But you did make an interesting point earlier that I didn't want to jump on you. I wanted to let you finish your point. And before we go to break, I'm going to bring it up, and then we're going to table it for when we talk some Canes football. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We're not competing for a national championship this year. That doesn't work, bro. I have two trains of thought on that. Neither one. One is very, very close to the Hurricane Nation heart, right? And the other one has just a lot to do with the basic premise of having a winning attitude. And it's not your fault, but I found it interesting because you are one of many who have used that exact same talk track with me in getting into conversations with the Hurricanes about the quarterback position. So I'm going to table that, but I'm going to tell you why that's a scary thought for a dude like me, because no matter what, if you can't go in August putting in your mind that you want to win every football game you play, we know it's a pipe dream. Let's be real. I understand it's a pipe dream, but when we make that statement, I find it hard to believe that the guys in that locker room, the guys that are playing, the guys that are training and fighting out for positions on that team, don't believe that they could be the best every single Saturday against the guy they line up against, the team they line up against. That's my thought process, because an athlete knows that way. And a lot of us who sit back and watch this from afar, we have a tendency of doing that. And I'm telling you, so many people, Frank, have used the same talk track. And I kind of think, like, I'm thinking about Louisville, and I'm thinking about winning that game, and then setting the table, coming home, and okay, we have a couple of, one is a cupcake, the other one's not necessarily a cupcake, but get the gears going, because you can win that, you can start. I mean, it was fun last year when they ranked them 7th. Could they have gotten a little? I mean, was it a little overboard? Maybe. Maybe they weren't that good, but they were playing that good. And at some point in the season, if you're the only one that's winning all your games, you're going to get up there. I'm just saying, yeah, your best part of what you said was this. I mean, Al needs this Louisville game so bad. 954-990-0036. So we'll touch on that. I'm trying to get Manny Navarro on. No promises, because I know he's a family man, but I'm still nonetheless going to try to get him on, probably in the 10 o'clock hour. We'll goof around. We'll take some calls.
Am I going to be able to defend myself on that comment later?
Of course, bro. I'm not jumping down your throat. We're just having sports conversation.
Because there's a reason why I'm saying it.
I'm so mad at McDonald's for screwing up my order. Like, I really wanted, like, last week I got that steak, bagel, and cheese, right?
Uh-huh.
And that allows, what happens is it's a richer type of fart. So they screwed it up and they gave me bacon, right? And the only thing bacon and having one of the little these Coke Zeros do is makes me want to burp a lot. But I don't, like, I feel like I have one of these stuck, and all I got to release is this. So whatever. I will move forward with that when we come back from break. Haven't even touched on baseball. They shut down Troy Tulowitzki. So he's done for the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And baseball is so different right now. We brought this up a couple of weeks ago. We come back, pull out your little MLB standings, and try to figure out what's going on in baseball. The Kansas City Royals. Yep, the Kansas City Royals. The Baltimore Orioles. Biggest lead in baseball. The Baltimore Orioles. So we'll talk a little baseball when we come back. Take your calls, 954-990-0036. Tweet the show at The Amigo Show. Ask whatever question you want. When we come back, we'll do all that much more till noon right here on SoFloRadio.com.
Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com.
Escape with your loved one to your own private fantasy world at the totally renovated Miami Princess Hotel, 4251 Northwest 11th Street, next to the airport in Miami. Unlock the secrets of your imagination in one of our 8 exotic theme rooms. Journey to the Orient in the Japanese room. Ancient delights await in the Roman room. Be the king of your jungle in the Tarzan room. Breathtaking suites designed to provide the utmost of intimacy. Miami Princess Hotel, located close to I-95 and the airport. Give them a call, 305-441-1862. That's 305-441-1862.
The Owen Frank Noodle Show.
Park was a disaster. Oh, you've been there? The Gadorade?
Gadorade. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's Gatorade.
By the way,
that's Gatorade in
Chaparral
Spanish.
Park.
Yeah.
Gadorade.
Gadorade.
I ordered a Gatorade once, and he goes, Chico, you got un Gadorade? I'm like, what? Look at Franco. What is he talking about? He goes,
Gatorade.
Gatorade, homie. I was like, what?
Little Havana living, baby.
That was awesome.
The Owen Frank Noodle Show. Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. only on SoFloRadio.com.
Say, remember when radio was fun? Now it's dead.
Because deregulation has allowed one massive corporation to spread its tentacles like a giant octopus, absorbing radio stations around the globe. And that's why you hear this.
SoFlo Radio will stand and fight the corporate monolith. SoFloRadio.com. SoFloRadio.com. All systems are functional.
And get past the range to Mr. Jackal, the new king of radio.
Is there life on other planets?
This is nuclear physicist Stanton Friedman, and now I'm a voice in the Jackal's head.
Is the government keeping secrets from us?
This is Stephen Bassett, and I am now a voice inside the Jackal's head.
Want to find out more? Listen to the Jackal's Head on the Super Media Network.
The biggest trick the Jackal ever pulled was to convince the world that he doesn't exist.
You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million.
Now, you guys mind telling me what you're doing with my little green pal over there?
On SoFloRadio.com.
Who the heck is that? Wayne Gretzky? On steroids?
Yeah, I'm the only one to get the job done. I don't know no one that could cover for me. Yeah, got some game from my day, so she might say she love me. She don't love me like she say she love me. Believe me, believe me. I'm that nigga boy, they love me in the street. I'm not trying to find nobody else to beat. I'm the one they couldn't see because they are.
So something just dawned on me. So if I wanted to kind of hijack the show, I mean, I don't know how you hijack your own show, but go with me here. So so I can hijack the show with this little thing here. So I can go like this, and I can play something other than my little fart sounds, right? I can actually... So I can literally tell you... Oh, my God. So I can... Really, this... Hold on. I can do this. This is great.
Hey, Larry, we're on the air.
Oh, we are?
Well, that's not the commercial.
Blame burps.
Florida is creating some jobs.
Jobs right now, they're coming back up. Governor Scott has done great
What are you
things
playing?
to help us move ahead.
Well, they play a little commercial on YouTube. I can skip the ad now. So this is what I wanted to play.
See the folks lined up behind me waiting to get going.
So this is coming out on the air.
Waiting for LeBron James
Yes,
to come
sir.
back home.
Today, LeBron's coming back. It's a welcome home party. Celebrate. Let's go. 30,000 hanging around the stadium, waiting to see LeBron.
Go Cavs! Let's go!
This place will be off the chart tonight. The people are just anxious to welcome him back. Even though he might not have been here, he still did things in the community.
They
Whole
all
area
saved
really
their
responds to
LeBron jerseys. They all have 23s. Look at them. Look at them. I hadn't seen this. You know that, right? This is why I'm doing this. Because I walked away from this situation.
You guys in the stands, I want to thank everyone for being here.
Yeah.
You guys are unbelievable.
He thanked them.
That made this possible.
Are you kidding me? That's what I was getting to, by the way. I knew. He thanked them. He hasn't played a freaking quarter of basketball since he left them high and dry 4 years ago, and he's thanking them for making this possible. Are you kidding me? I'm not supposed to talk about this crap. He's thanking them for making this possible, and I'm the crazy one. Let it go, Larry, bro. You sound like a freaking lunatic. I'm nuts. He could say thank you to the fan base of Miami, but I want to thank all of you. It's without you, this is impossible. You got to be kidding me. I can't make this up, guys. I can't make this crap up. I know I said I wouldn't do this.
Amazing. You guys in the stands, I want to thank everyone for being here. You guys are unbelievable. That made this possible. I don't know if you guys know what happened in the last month with me deciding to come back and play here. There's people that came to me and said, LeBron, you got to do what makes you happy. And I was like, yeah, I think so. And also,
I've had enough. All right, so there we go.
You missed the best part when he was like, "Oh hell no, I did this for you."
Hold on.
I'm gonna do what makes my city and my state happy, and that's why I came back. I love you. I'm back.
And he drops the mic like a loser.
All right.
Are those fireworks?
Yeah, they
Oh
had
my
fireworks.
God.
They complained that we had a pep rally and they had fireworks for his return.
That's why it's like looking into a funhouse
Hold on
mirror.
a second, but do you understand where I get frustrated with this? Because nobody seems to understand. Like, I get what Le Batard did. Le Batard actually, he spoofs everything that has to do with all the energy that goes around this. Like, he honestly feels, Dan feels like LeBron doesn't owe anybody crap. He fulfilled his, which I give him credit, at least, you know, he didn't start flirting around, didn't distract. Right. He played his 4 years without a distraction, and then he made a decision, and that's it.
Right.
You know, that part of it I can understand, but you know what bothers me is to not thank people that helped you get 2 championships and get you to 4 straight finals since you decided to go to college, because this was a college experience.
The only people that were defending him.
So it's hard to hear all this and not come to the determination that he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. So it's just, I'm the crazy one. But in Cleveland, where they burned his jerseys when he left, now have fireworks for him upon his return. But they criticized us having a pep rally for him getting here. I'm just happy that business is going to return to basketball as usual here in Miami, where it centers around the team concept, around the family unit that is the Miami Heat, and a guy like Dwayne Wade, who has proven time and time again, whether he takes his bumps and bruises, whether he's not. There's been times he's frustrated this fan base over the last couple of years, but he's still one of the great players in the league, and it's going to be fun him grabbing this team and putting it on his back again. I'm interested in seeing what this season's going to bring. I couldn't tell you. I'm not promising championships. I just think that it's going to be far. They're really going to make a serious run for going to their 5th final, in my opinion. And I know what Cleveland did. And I know whether Kevin Love's coming. I'm telling you that because I firmly believe that the team has something to prove, and there's enough talent on that team, the way they're building it right now. a lot more shots to go around. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying because obviously he was a very efficient shooter, LeBron was. But there's a dynamic to your offense that changes. And Bosch is not all the way in the boonies anymore. He can come play his 7-foot ball and be successful at it because there's only 2 or 3 guys that can beat him inside that way. Let him be strong like that everywhere else because play against teams where he was a matchup and they still had him outside because you know who had to do you know what. 954-990-0036. So we scraped over a couple things. The one thing I hadn't talked about, because I rarely talk about it on this show, is golf. And I know that I said 9:30 Chris Perkins. We're gonna take a break soon, right? An early break and come back and go out to the rest of the hour with him. Here's my thought process, Frank. Did you get to see the golf last weekend? Did you get to see any of it whatsoever?
No.
So you're not a golf fan.
Not at all.
Okay.
Mini golf.
I was following it on my iPad. Because I wasn't watching it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't watching it. It wasn't. And there was a reason why I wasn't watching it. Because as much as I criticized Tiger at the point where Tiger was Tiger, I would have been watching that. But for some reason, I felt compelled to think that there's no reason to watch it. And then what kind of happened was guys like Ricky Fowler and Phil Mickelson and obviously Rory McIlroy and others made the tournament very interesting in the back nine on Sunday. And it made for a great watch for sports fans. So, for the first time in a long time, you had something at a highly competitive level. But for the first time in a longer time, Frank, you had it without Tiger around. And that brings food for thought. Are there enough stars in that game to sustain itself and that level that it had been raised to by Tiger and what I'm starting to kind of deem as his demise? I can't imagine. It's been a lot of radio shtick. I have firmly bought into my idea many years ago that he wouldn't win another one. I thought it was one of those out there opinions. It basically sounds prophetic at this point, pretty much lucky, because who would have thought it when I said it? But the fact is I can't imagine that he will get healthy enough to compete for another major. And the game, for the first time in a long time, survived without him. And I found that, even though I didn't see the tournament, to be interesting. So you know what happens? You're going to see people are going to start watching more golf. Remember I told you this. We're going to have this conversation in a few months, and we're going to go over ratings. And I guarantee you more people are going to start watching golf because look, McIlroy now is starting to be the big boy, big man on campus. And other people are going to come after him. And all of a sudden, there's going to be new names. Competition is what makes you want to watch a sport. At the end of the day, I don't always believe that it's the personality. Look at the NBA. You know, at one point in time, I was watching Julius Erving, right? And then I was watching Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. And then the next thing I knew, I was watching Michael Jordan. There's an evolution to everything in the players, but as great as Michael was, I've been watching basketball since before him, and there were greats. I'm watching basketball now, and there's greats. I'm thinking in 10 or 20 years, it's going to continue to be the same thing. So it's about the competition and the level of competition. 954-990-0036. Go ahead.
Rory's never going to get the buzz that Tiger got, though, because, I mean, I don't want to bring the racial card into it, but there's never been an African-American golfer that's been that good. So he's never going to get the same amount of buzz. And goes to you now. The question to you now is, do you think Rory's going to ever be as good as Tiger?
Yes.
I don't. Okay. How many majors did Tiger have at this point where Rory is right now?
Well,
is he on pace?
My understanding, and of course, if Sandy were listening, he'd be calling right away at 954. I'm going to have to text him. But my understanding with a guy, Rory has got 4 now, I believe.
Yeah.
It's right there. I'm going to look it up, but I think like Tiger may have had 6. Like it's somewhere on pace to where Tiger was. He can have the sustainability of staying healthy. He will win many majors. Health has been an issue for Tiger. For whatever it's worth, the last few years, part of him not having success has been his lack of health. So if McIlroy can stay healthy, he's going to be, very, very accomplished golfer.
Since the scandal went down, Tiger hasn't been Tiger.
It started before that, but yes, you're right. It actually started before the scandal, just so you know. But you're right. You're 100% right. It went downhill. I mean, I told you that an event like that is a life changer for a guy like that. The confidence came from all that stuff, and then all of a sudden it's gone. So 954-990-0036. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll jump to the Dolphins, talk a little with Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel about that and so much more right here on the Amigo Show, SoFloRadio.com.
Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com.
The Amigo Show would like to thank the law offices of Hockman and Golden, PA at www.ticketlawfirm.com. Both attorneys, Sonny Golden and Scott Hockman, are graduates of the U, both undergrad and law school, celebrating 20 years of helping drivers with traffic-related incidents, speeding tickets, red light camera violations, accidents. 305-665-1000 or ticketlawfirm.com.
We asked this gentleman to participate in our radio taste test challenge. On one table, terrestrial radio. On the other, SoFloRadio.com. Do you have your blindfold on?
Yes.
Try a bite of this.
Oh, God, that's awful. Tastes like the soiled briefs of a lonely fat man.
You just had a taste of all sports and corporate-backed right-wing assassin talk radio. Now give this a try.
That's gotta be SoFloRadio.com. Entertaining, funny, informative. I love it. Can I have more?
SoFloRadio.com. A full plate of delicious entertainment.
The Owen Frank Noodle Show.
So how do people actually do it, males, in the region?
Nah, see, I don't.
Dude, if you say you have that much pain on your arm and legs, that's unacceptable. At that point, something's going on.
I don't go to that level though. I trim with a machine, bro. You know
little buzzer?
Little buzzer. It's buzz down there, a little manscape, and we're good to go. Hey, bro, you got a manscape nowadays. No chick wants to go down there and, you know what I'm saying, feel hairs.
No, that's terrible.
That's
and
terrible.
neither do we, so you got, it goes both ways, right?
It goes both ways, brother. You know what I'm saying? Some chicks go down there, you got hair, and they're like, whoa, wait, let me come back up.
Hold on, cowboy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The Owen Frank Noodle Show. Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. only on SoFloRadio.com.
Welcome to the Moses Love Hour, filled with friends, live music, and conscious living. Take some time and come on the adventures aboard Mission Control. From the I Love Yoga studios in Dania Beach, Florida, USA, streaming live Sunday nights from 9 to 10 on SoFloRadio.com.
You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, we need that thumb to go this direction.
On SoFloRadio.com.
Let me tell you about the young man we just drafted. You're going to be thrilled every time you watch him as a punt returner.
Right about now, you're about to be possessed by the sounds of MC Rawface and DJ Easy. Hit it!
Carpet Day!
I have way too much fun. Oh, goodness. Perkins is going to kill me. I just had to release it. I had no choice. This is one of these bad habits I acquired from Armando Salguero. We used to do this in the morning show all the time with the burps, and it was just random.
You're such a clown.
Well, you know, the thing is, it's fitting. It's a fitting segue since we're getting ready to talk about the Miami Dolphins. And, well, I deem it to be a circus. But this is why I bring Chris Perkins on from the Sun Sentinel, so he can bring levity to the situation. Talk me off the ledge as he has so many times in the past, and tell me why a wide receiver at quarterback is going to be the future and why we're going to win in the AFC East this year. Please tell me how this is going to happen, why this is going to happen. Welcome to the show, Chris Perkins. How are you, my friend?
Hey, amigo, I'm not going to talk about them winning or anything like that. You know, I've got them as 8-8.
8-8. Straight up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What did I tell you, Frank? I told Frank before the show that you were probably around that area.
8 or 9 wins.
He's somewhere between 7 and 9, probably 8 or 9. So you're more optimistic than I am, but this is like, it sounds like I've seen this movie before where we've been on the radio and I felt they're going to win less games than you have felt that they're going to win, and they generally do more what you say than what I say. So I'm going to shut up. Tell me why the 8 games aren't 10 games or 12 games, and certainly what is the differentiator with them in the AFC East?
Well, the first thing about the Dolphins is that the offense is very different. I mean, I'm sure you noticed that last week. You know, Bill Lazor has got them spreading the field, short passes. The ball is out of Tannehill's hand real quickly, and that helps minimize what's going to be a bad offensive line. I mean, let's face it, that offensive line is probably not going to be good. So the offense is tailor-made to Tannehill and doing what the team does well, which is using the playmakers, using guys like Brandon Gibson, Mike Wallace, Brian Hartline, Charles Clay, Noshawn Marino. It gets them the ball out in space so they can use their athleticism. And I will say this, you know, one thing about Mike Wallace's season last year, he had a career-high 73 receptions and 930 yards, 5 touchdowns. Now, the deep ball was not a big part of that. So, you know, to me, Mike Wallace did show you that he's more than just a deep ball receiver, that he can run short and intermediate routes, he can get yards after catch. You know, the disappointing thing was that Wallace had 12 drops last year. But the deep ball stuff was not his fault. That was like 80% Ryan Tannehill. Wallace was open. The passes were errant. They were short. They were long. They were off target. So Mike Wallace he had a solid year last year. You have to get that deep ball going. But this offense should be improved. You know, defensively, you need to see this be a turnover-creating unit. You know, interceptions and fumbles. The sacks were there last year. Cam Wake 8.5, Olivier Vernon 11.5, but still you want to see that increase. Overall, though, the offensive line, that's suspect. The linebackers, they're suspect. And I don't have a whole lot of faith in Portland Finnegan and Louis Delmas both reverting to their form of a couple of years ago. So I see them as an 8-8 team. 9 wins, maybe, but I see a solid 8-8 team out there.
Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel joining us here on the Amigo Show. You know, you alluded to something relevant to Tannehill in that talk, and my problem with Tannehill is if he's not outside the pocket, or statistically he seems to be far better than when he is inside the pocket, the guy's not very effective. I mean, and let's be frank. And part of the problem with Wallace, you're right, a big part of the problem with Wallace wasn't Wallace. It was the fact that Tannehill can't get him the ball. Does this Lazor offense minimize what seem to be weaknesses on this offense, i.e. offensive line, by virtue of getting those passes released quick and getting the ball moving quick so that you're not exposing your quarterback to sacks, as well as the fact that guy who doesn't have a pocket presence, you keep stuff short and quick and it increases confidence. So I'm thinking there's a lot of stuff here that it complements each other well. I just kind of wanted your thoughts in reference to how Tannehill fits into all of this and whether this offense will be more tailor-made to avoid his weaknesses.
It seems to be that. It seems to be something that, you know, we've seen Tannehill have a good training camp. He had a good showing in the one drive last week against Atlanta. So far so good. Now, you know, Tannehill needs a running game. You know, no quarterback is going to succeed if you know he's just going to drop back and pass it every time. So you need a running game, and again, you need that offensive line to come through. And but as far as Tannehill himself, he seems improved. Now, I always caution this with, is he a franchise quarterback? I don't know yet, but he's a definite solid NFL starter. We know that about him.
When you look at that offensive line, you said suspect was the word you used, and I happen to agree with you there. aside from having these quick pass plays serve as part of what would be normally a running offense, right? In other words, you don't have a strong running game, so what you do is instead of running the ball as much as you do, take some of those plays and make them into short pass plays where there's a lot of run after catch, a lot of yards after catch. If you look within that and within the system, is Lazer's system suited to handle that? And if so, how or will there not be a deep threat on this team? In other words, you have Mike Wallace to run up and down like a gazelle, but if the offense isn't tailored to go long, like how is that going to bode as far as him being your top receiver? Don't you have to play to his strength?
Well, the offense can go long. We haven't seen it because Mike Wallace has missed so much time here in training camp with the hamstring injury. But on Thursday they did throw long with Wallace and Tannehill. So that is going to be part of the offense, definitely. The deep ball, I mean, that's why you have Mike Wallace. So that's going to be part of the offense. And I know as far as the offensive line, the hope is that this offensive line is more suited to a zone blocking scheme, which is the same scheme they used under Mike Sherman, but you had a bunch of Tony Sparano-era road graders. Now, and Richie Incognito and John Jerry and Tyson Clabo, now you have more agile, nimble linemen, which is what you need for the zone blocking scheme. So they're hoping that it pays off in the running game in that way, that, these guys are better suited for what they're asking them to do. So, again, that remains to be seen, but that's kind of the thinking on the offensive line right now.
Sun Sentinels Chris Perkins joins us here on the Amigo Show. Running game, what have you seen? What has impressed you? What has not impressed you? What do you expect?
I haven't seen anything that's impressed me, but no Sean Marino hasn't been in there. I just think that Lamar Miller is much better as a backup running back, a change of pace guy, rather than a starter. And I think if he's your starter, you're going to have the same problems that you had last season, which was a running game that ranked 26th in the NFL. So I have to see the running game. No, Sean probably won't play tonight. That's like a 95% chance he does not play. So we'll probably see a lot of Lamar Miller tonight. But in the next game against Dallas, preseason game 3, I'm thinking No Sean should play, and that's when we'll know a lot more about this running game.
What's your thoughts on these preseason games? As fans, they get mad that they have to pay the 2 extra games in their season ticket packages. As much as I've always criticized preseason football, I can imagine it's a necessary evil to everything that takes to preparing for a football season. Now they try to extend the football season. They're trying to make it longer. Everything is more physically demanding on a year-to-year basis in this game. At some point, do you think they explore the notion of shortening how many practice games you have and involve more into a training camp mentality with maybe inter-squad scrimmages rather than that? Or do you see, because it makes the NFL money and it increases revenues, let's be honest, it takes it from 8 to 10 home dates no matter what you do. Do you think they continue with the format that's in?
Yeah, I think they can continue with this format mostly because this is how you evaluate talent. You have to evaluate talent in game situations. It's one thing to have a scrimmage or to practice against another team. You need these guys out there in game situations against another team, coaches in the headset, all of this kind of chaos that goes on during a game. That's what you need. And really, if you look at the preseason, the starters really don't play that much. The first game, they might play a series. The second game, they might play a quarter. The third game, they'll play a half. And then the last game, they really don't play at all. So, your starters probably get the equivalent of a game out of those 4 preseason games. It's mostly to evaluate your draftees and your new guys.
You're going to be traveling with the team this year?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's always a lot of fun. I always enjoyed, I'll never forget when we did the show together, Chris, and some of you don't know, Perk and I did a show together on 640 Sports with Armando Salguero. Armando and I had a morning show, Armando and the Amigo, and then Chris joined us, and man, was it football heavy. And what was great was Chris is the kind of guy who's going to tell you exactly how he sees it, and it was fun-loving, it was great, but there was always heated arguments. But the one thing that I always enjoyed was coming to work on Monday, because you had perspective on people who had traveled with a football team that you just saw generally lose. Sometimes they'd win. But it was great insight on what what was going on with the team, and certainly you see this team now, and that's why I enjoy talking to you, because I get that perspective of what's going on at training camp. A training camp that I've not been able to attend this year. Scheduling conflicts, just can't do it. But certainly I sit back, I consume all this information you guys provide to us, and then I sit to myself, okay, the AFC East, there may be the third or fourth best team. You have them 8-8, Perk. Do you really think that makes them the second team, the third team? Not that it really matters, but like some people really are picking them to be last. I remember one poll I saw had them like the 31st out of 32 teams. Are they that bad? I mean, what's getting missed here? Is it because of the offensive line and the notion that they're not good?
I just to me, I just see a team that doesn't have enough playmakers, and that's what I think has been the problem with this team the last, few years, the last 4 or 5 years, that they're a decent team. They don't suck. Let's not make that mistake. Let's not overblow the situation. They don't suck. They're just very average, and their record has showed that. The last 2 years, they're 15-17 under Philbin and Tannehill. That's very average. That's obviously it's 2 games below average, but it's an average team. And I think that it's because they don't have enough guys who can make those crucial plays, who can break that tackle and get that extra first down, who can get that interception, who can get that, that fumble or whatever. They're just not making enough plays. And, that's what I see as the difference with this team once again this year.
All right. So I know the other thing you guys hate to do is start penciling in wins and losses before training camp is even over. So now I allowed you to talk me off the ledge. Now I want to believe that in any sport, anything is possible. You have to have a winning mentality. You have to go in thinking you are the champion of the world, whatever. They open their season against New England here, at Buffalo. They play Kansas City here, and then they go to Oakland across the country before they get their bye. We've loved to do this in the past, Chris. Where will they be at the bye week? What will happen at the bye week?
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. I will say this, amigo. My philosophy on that is I don't like to do the game by game thing. I prefer to look at football teams the same way you look at basketball and baseball. And a basketball team, you say they'll win 55 games this year, they'll win 42 games this year. You don't do the WLWL. So I see the Dolphins as an 8-win team. Having said that, if they can be 2-2 in the bye week, it'll be good.
You like 2-2. I see pivotal games to take it from where you see them to where they could get to. And here we go. I'm going to get criticized for being the optimist here, right? Obviously, the mainstays in the schedule. You're going to see Buffalo twice, New England twice, the Jets twice. This schedule, what jumps out to me is, even though the game's here, a game against Green Bay and having to see Aaron Rodgers, to go to Soldier Field to play Chicago, which, by the way, this year, in my opinion, Chicago is going to be one of the breakout. You got some good stuff up ahead if you're a Bears fan, because I think they're going to be a fantastic football team this year. Just my thoughts. They go to Denver, and they play against Denver the Sunday before Thanksgiving, Mile High. Then after that game, they play a Monday night in New York against the Jets. They go to New England in December, in the bitter cold of December. I just see some of these games too tall a task to topple for them. But if they do, those would be the games they win. What from there, from what you're seeing, from the schedule that you're seeing, 8-8, what's the high side that you think? Could they win 10 games? Could they possibly be a playoff game? And if so, what would need to happen for that to be the case?
You know what? I think that they're not good enough to win 10. They're not bad enough to lose 10. They could win 9 and get into the wild card. You could see that, but I think what would need to happen, number one, is health, and number two, Tannehill needs to have a good year, and then number three, you need a lot of guys to come through for you. You need Charles Clay to repeat what he did last year. You need Olivier Vernon to repeat what he did last year. You need Dallas Thomas and Juwan James, the youngsters on that right side of the offensive line, to come through for you. You need Sean Marino to come through for you. Cortland Finnegan has to come through. Louis Delmas has to come through. Those linebackers have to improve. And so when you start adding all that up, that's probably to get you to 10 wins, that scenario. That's a lot of ifs. could happen to get you to 9, but I'd say you probably go half and half on a lot of that stuff, and you end up with 8 victories. That's how I look at this team. But 2-2 going into the bye, you still give yourself a chance. I think if you're like maybe 7-5 going into those last 4 games, you give yourself a pretty decent chance at making the playoffs. So
you finish the season.
We'll see what happens.
You
there.
finish the season at home 3 of the last 4 games. The only game in inclement weather is that December 14 game against the Patriots. It is some tough competition: Baltimore, New England, Minnesota, New England, but not overwhelmingly tough. Yeah, like the reason I asked this question, I have many people, including one particular friend who's a huge Eagles fan, that tells me that this team with Laser is. Just you wait and see. He tells me, you wait and see. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait and see. He believes that the offense is going to change the dynamics of how the Dolphins play football on both sides, and that the way they'll control the ball and the way they'll move the ball will make their defense better, will make their offensive line look better, and kind of help their running game be better. He says it'll all fall into place, and that they're going to be far better than everyone imagines. So that's what I'm hoping for, and that's why I asked the question that I did. Brother, before I let you go, you going to tell Hyde I say what's up?
I will, man. Yep.
That guy, Dave Hyde's the man, bro. That guy's the man. He knows I hold him in high regard. You guys have a safe ride. I guess you're going to Tampa to do the game today. Right? Is that where you're on to? Tampa, right?
Mm-hmm. That's it.
It's Tampa Bay, yeah. We want to have you on during football season a lot more, Chris. I love your insight on the Dolphins, and certainly you don't allow me to just take jabs at them, just because I want to be that angry Dolphin fan. So you keep some levity to the situation. You allow us to do some respectable journalism around here when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. So I want you back on as soon as possible, my friend.
Oh, definitely. You know that, amigo. Anytime, man.
Tell Armando I say what's up.
I'll do it tonight.
That's my boy, man. Yeah, he's all right. We're cool. That's my dude. Tell him I say what's up, man.
All right, amigo. I'll talk to you, man.
Take care. Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel, providing us what I think is valuable information when it comes to the Dolphins, because he's the only one I'll allow to come on here. That's bullcrap. If Armando wants to come on, I'd love to have Armando yelling at me again. I'm so over it. Like it was that show was one of the more interesting radio shows. Forget about that I was on it. Just that I never heard. I'll talk about Dos Amigos all day, which, by the way, I talked to Alan Strauss this week. It will either be next Saturday or after Labor Day.
Cool.
I'm really shooting for next Saturday because we're not going to be on Labor Day, obviously. And it would be a great birthday gift. Not my birthday till the 28th, but it would be a great birthday to have him on, and I have to get a confirmation from him early. I'm going to be hounding him over the weekend so we can get all the sound ready, because what I would really love to do is just come out and even imaging Dos Amigos Show. I'm trying to get all this stuff.
Okay.
And have it feel that way a little bit, because I'll tell you what, if I can even get him half into the mindset he used to be in some of those nights, it'll be a crazy zany show. But back to Armando. Dude, it was fun coming back to the studio on a Monday after a football game with all the info that you were privy to with guys like these, like Perkins and Armando. They're around the team. They knew everything. Like, they would talk about something that happened in practice, and you were inside where you knew stuff. It really, I'm not the kind of guy, I don't like to go to, if I'm going to go to any sort of training camp, I go to the Canes. I haven't been able to this year. Dolphins, I'll sparingly go here and there. I'm not a fan of it. I'm more apt to go to a Canes, practice or scrimmage or something like that. But these guys, man, they'll get under that tent. And you see them. They're watching play-by-play. They're watching everybody's practicing. And then you'll see it on Twitter. That's the beauty of Twitter. Then it comes out with their reporting on Twitter. They're watching stuff. They're getting information. It's a fun way to consume a preseason, and I give them credit for the work that they do. But let's get Armando on here one day. Armando will make you laugh. He hammers me into the ground. He beats me senseless. Deems me speechless. Makes fun of me. That's all right. I'd love to have him on whenever he wants. So when we come back, second hour of the show, that's probably more Finns football than I've talked in the history of this show here on SoFlo Radio, right?
One of them, because we've had him on before talking Dolphins, but we've also had him on. We've been talking Heat also.
We made him talk Heat.
So, yeah, so this must be the longest.
This was all Dolphins.
You got more?
No, because I don't want to talk about them anymore. I really don't.
I don't blame you, man.
Why do I want to talk about him?
Look, a lot of the things that Chris Perkins was saying, we were talking about it last week. Remember, we were saying that he's not a route runner and he goes deep,
right?
And it's up to Tannehill to connect with him. Mm-hmm. He said it wasn't his fault last year. It was just that Tannehill wasn't just throwing the ball accurately. So we know.
You know I'm sidetracked right now, right?
Yeah, you're looking for something goofy.
You know, I'm sidetracked, right?
We're gonna have to get you away from that thing.
I'm really upset about this. This was really ruined my day. Yeah, it's not working now. I wanted to play it. It's not working. That's all right. 954-990. Did I go over already, too? Did I do that?
You're right on.
I'm right on. We'll be back.
Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com.
At the Miami Princess Hotel, you are free to unlock the secrets of your imagination in one of our 8 exotic theme rooms, each designed to enhance your pleasure and provide a one-of-a-kind getaway experience with your loved one. A unique and treasured retreat nestled in the heart of the city, close to I-95 and the airport in Miami at 4251 Northwest 11th Street. Miami Princess Hotel provides theme rooms with 45-inch TVs, state-of-the-art sound systems, and jacuzzis. Give them a call, 305-441-1862.
By the Glass.
By the Glass is a show about beverage culture.
Brad Hubbard.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the dots on how everything works together. It's really all about how we enjoy things, how we enjoy life, and how beverages play a big part in that. I'm going to bring in people that are going to display their aspect of the culture. I'm going to bring in people that are going to show you different products. We're going to look at places where people go to consume these beverages and how they all interact. Things are built around the actual beverage itself.
By the Glass. Thursdays from 6 to 7. Only on SoFloRadio.com.
SoFloRadio.com is the exclusive radio home of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers Football Club. Listen for every corner kick, penalty kick, save, and goal on SoFloRadio.com.
To Anderson, the save by whoa, the save by Gorick, but the putback by Darnell King, and the Strikers are up 2-0.
Silverman on Sports host Bruce Silverman brings you the play-by-play. SoFloRadio.com, bringing you every Striker home game, starting live at 7:30. SoFlo Radio. Talk, music, sports. SoFloRadio.com.
This is John Etch in the Sports Heads.
Well, somebody told Wesley Snipes that it was unconstitutional to pay taxes.
Oh, my God.
That, they can't charge taxes. It's not in the Constitution. So he's like, hey, man, it's not in the Constitution. Yeah, but it's a law. So now you're going to jail. Thank you for admitting it, by the way.
Put yourself in these guys' shoes. You get a check for $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to claim taxes on them?
Yeah, I am. You know what?
Tuesday 7 to 9, Thursday 8 to 10.
John Edge and the Sports Heads.
On SoFloRadio.com.
You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million. On SoFloRadio.com.
Ten 10:03 here on SoFloRadio.com. Why do I sound so canned? I like that song. Same damn thing to a solo. Noble's Piss. You don't know nothing about that. You don't know nothing about that, Frank.
Come on, get out of here.
You don't know nothing about that.
All right.
92, what were you, like 11?
Yeah, but I like Redman. I've always followed all his old
You were 11 in 92, weren't you?
No, I was actually 9.
You were 9.
Yeah, I was 9.
I was like 25. Right here on SoFlo Radio tonight, 7:30. My buddy Bruce Silverman giving you play-by-play from Fort Lauderdale. Lockhart Stadium action. Fort Lauderdale Strikers against the Atlanta Silverbacks. Your home for Strikers Soccer right here on SoFloRadio.com. 7:30 with Bruce Silverman, my buddy Bruce Silverman. Partner in crime, Bruce Silverman. I ran into, this is always fun. These are the three things, and here we go. Self-serving ego again. Can't spell million without the I. I know, whatever. I'm going to do it nonetheless because it's still fun to me.
I like that.
It's still fun to me. So, I'm at Hard Rock last night.
And there's two I's, so it's I.
I'm laughing so hard it slipped. Oh, goodness. So I'm at Hard Rock last night. And walking by is Paul Castronovo. I hadn't seen him in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
We have a friend in common. In fact, Larry Podwell has always been a character. It's come on Paul and Young Ron. You can catch him on Big 105.9 weekday mornings. You know, I have no shame in plugging radio. Like, since this is internet radio, like, I know it's like I'm probably doing blasphemy, but the shows that I enjoy that I believe others would enjoy, since I'm not on the air, I'm going to point you to them.
Yep.
Every time. If you don't want to hear sports, you need to hear Paul and Young Ron. It's just, it's funny. I know somebody, it's already old. No, it's not. 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 And then if you need your morning sports fix, you know, you go either with the staple, Joe Rose, right? Or you take a peek at a show that has been surprising to me, which is, believe it or not, the one on 790 with Zaz and Joy. Surprisingly good. Like, it's entertaining. It's fun. Like, the way they get along is funny.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Sid had a stronger signal so I could hear him better, but I catch him every chance I get, only because I believe he's the most talented guy on the air, outside of Levitard, of course. So there's my shameless plugs on radio shows. But with Paul, you're always going to get high-level entertainment. They goof on each other. It's a real fraternal type of thing, and Paul's always cultivated that in the show. So, you see him, you know, I used to not have hair. I used to shave this head before I used to have to sell CEOs things, you know, and I had to look professional with a suit and tie. So he saw me. He had to take a double take. And then I said, Larry the Amigo. Oh, my goodness, you're Podwell's boy. How are you? So we started talking. Larry Podwell's the guy who named me. Him and my old manager, Peter Conley, basically named me. Basically insisted that I use the Amigo as a moniker. I didn't like it. But I was in sales, by the way. These were people who I used to sell with. And they said, it's a catchy name. You got to go with it. You got to go with it. So he's with his wife, Paul is. And Paul goes, and he's, there with friends, and he introduces his wife to us. And when he introduces me to his wife, he says, Amigo's a talented broadcaster. Sounds great on the air. Love hearing him talk sports. Something like that. My wife's there. I got friends around. I'm like, that's always dork moment for me. Yeah. Every time. Sid make a comment, I love you. Lebitard, you know how Levy treats me and how he is with me. So to me, that's humbling. So there may not be financial success in this business, but that type of respect, I can go to the grave with it. I really can. And it meant the world to me that Paul did that. In front of it, he introduced me to his wife as that and said, this guy's a talented broadcaster. Unbelievable. Like, could be stroking the ego a little bit. Whatever. It was nice of him to take the time to actually say that.
Pumped out your chest a little bit?
Tweeted it. I put out, hey, it was great seeing my friend Paul. He tweeted it. Talented broadcaster. I didn't even have to say talented broadcaster. So there we go. So we're going to do a shtick based on that. Okay? Where I am the Amigo, the talented broadcaster. Right?
Yeah.
The deep voice, whatever. So the dork moments are that when someone recognizes me, right? Or recognizes my voice. That's dork moment, ultimate dork moment. I work probably 3 weeks ago. Some guy works in another satellite office. I'd never really seen him before. Hears me talking from across, and he comes and peeks in. He goes, your voice sounds familiar. I'm like, Larry Milian, blah, 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 blah. The Amigo? Like, I'm not even, like, at work, I don't bring this stuff up. The Amigo? Yeah. Oh, my God, I used to listen to you. Blah, 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 blah. Chaos in the office. Now everyone in the office is calling me the Amigo.
Oh, my.
Can you imagine that? 954-990-0036. Even reps in Orlando when they email me, "What's up, amigo?" That's mine, bro. I bought that one. Thank you, Larry Podwell. I appreciate it. Baseball on my mind. Whether it's a 12-year-old girl who throws yes, or the state of Major League Baseball. I told you earlier in the show, Frank, and I want to get your thoughts. Kansas City Royals? The Kansas City Royals? Crack open a beer here. 10:09. Also training camp for tailgaters.
That's right. It's coming up.
If you're watching YouTube, you know better. So, dude, have you ever seen the Kansas City Royals win? Because we're talking about our age difference. Like, do you know of the Kansas City Royals ever winning?
The only image I have in my head of Kansas City ever being a winner is seeing George Brett run out of the dugout going crazy because of the Pine Tar incident.
That wasn't a winning moment for him, right?
No, but that's when they were good. That's the only image I have in my head.
They went to the playoffs against the Yankees in 76, 77, and 78. They lost all three times.
Mm-hmm.
They bounced the Yankees in 80, swept them. Brett hit an upper deck shot to put the nail in the coffin in that series. 85, they played the Cardinals. The World Series, and that didn't.
They lost, yeah.
Really
Cardinals
work
won.
out that well. Bad call cost them. They were up 3-1 and they lost the series. No, you don't know them to win because, like your Cubs, they have a little more success than your Cubs, but they don't win. They're winning now.
Yep.
They're winning now, and when you have guys like Pedro Gomez talking about the confidence level in a locker room, like they actually believe in themselves as winners. How much of that translates when you get into September baseball, into October baseball, if you're good enough to make it, where believing in yourself is actually where you win? I'm tired of seeing a 42 degrees, either a playoff game or a World Series game being decided because the season goes so darn long that that's what's going on. And figuring out that there's other elements after playing so much baseball that come into play as to whether you win a World Series or not. So, we have a new commissioner. And one of the things, is how many changes he's going to make, what kind of changes he's going to make. I'm not pretending to be commissioner. I'm not pretending to glance over things that have been spoken about before. And certainly when I say this to you, you're going to be surprised. But there's a solution to the ADD Sports Society and the dwindling ratings in baseball. The dwindling involvement of minorities, like African Americans, and even Hispanics, as far as the fan base is concerned. Season's too long.
It's a long season.
It's time after 100 and something years. This is the baseball purist you're talking to. I am a baseball purist at every level. Not 154, not 162, brother. No more. No more.
It's time to
the
evolve.
Arms are breaking down. Something's going on, and it's destroying arms. Arms are exploding all over America, and you're losing quality pitching in a game that's going to be the centerpiece. That's going to be the foundation of whether you're a great sport or not. And if you've got bad pitching, it's just a matter of who hits the ball harder on what day.
You want to change the amount of innings, too, or just the amount of games?
No, the amount of games. You don't change the structure of the game.
Okay.
The season, I don't have a problem changing the structure of. We expand. We have this playoff team. That I applaud all the efforts to make it interesting. You want to make it interesting? There's a lot of studies that show you that our society is ADD compared to 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's straight up. We don't have the same attention to things like we used to. It's not because we're getting older and we used to be like that when we were kids. No, it's global. It's technology. It's everything that goes along with social media technology. We are an attention deficit society. We cannot survive 162 games anymore. The baseball purist is saying it's time. You want to distance yourself from records. It's time to cut the season. I'm not telling you to play 120 games. You can't do that. You need to cut a significant amount of games so where it works well, where you're playing the World Series in October, not November.
So how many games we're looking at?
I was doing the numbers. I was doing my numbers. No,
I'm saying like 100 games.
No. I'm telling you, 120 is not going to cut it because you're cutting too many games. You can shorten the season. If you have 162 games and you cut 16 games, you've shortened the season by 10%. So if I can make a mathematical equation, that would be the equivalent of taking a 16-game football season and making it into a 14-game football season. It would be equivalent of making a basketball season that's now 82 games, 74 games. So it's a small impact. But if you make a change somewhere in the 10 to 20% window, closer to 10 to 15%, and I'm talking about impacting somewhere between 16 to 24 games, you're going to have the ability for players to stay in the game longer. What a shame that Jeter's leaving the game, right? He's compiled numbers. That's great. It's time to put the number in a place where it's comfortable and it doesn't mess with history, although the purists will tell you it will. So if you go too low, you're messing with records and the attainability of certain records. You would almost have to have two separate record books. But if you take 16 games off the top and it's 144 games or 146 games, 144 games, it's a nice number. What you're doing is if it's 16 games you're eliminating, that's 2.5, almost 3 weeks of baseball you're eliminating. If you compound that with smartly having day-night doubleheaders occur more often around this country in the summer to create a buzz around baseball, all right? You have 1 weekend a year where you have day-night.
Everywhere.
And it's a flood of baseball. It's a week of the year where sports is slow and you let the baseball dominate the sports headlines.
I like that.
Maybe even do it twice. Now all of a sudden, instead of playing those games in 1 day, 2 days, you're playing them in 1 day. So now all of a sudden, if you're saving 15, 16 days, you do these day-night double headers, and now it's 3 weeks you're cutting off. So now all of a sudden, you can feasibly finish and not have inclement weather play such a huge role in games of deciding a full season where you've played so many darn games. Okay? You have the ability to maneuver within a roster. This crap that pitchers are breaking down and that arms are exploding, I don't quite get it. I don't understand what's going on with that. But the more that happens, the less talent you have. So if you make a season longer, you're compounding that problem. 954-990-0036. The day-night doubleheader, maybe because I'm a New Yorker, I don't know. What a buzz. What a freaking buzz.
That's a hell of an idea, man.
What a freaking buzz.
Did you thought of that all yourself or you heard of that somewhere?
No, I thought that one was mine.
That's genius, to be honest with you, because you're right. It's called the dog days of summer for a reason. There's nothing going on. So if you make one weekend and everybody knows, all right, that's doubleheader weekend, you kind of plan a day at the ballpark. All right, we're going to spend a day at the ballpark.
I know managers hate it because you have pitchers and rotations and the order of business. Do it. I used to play doubleheaders all the time when I was a kid.
The game needs to evolve. Everything evolves in life. The game needs to evolve. Like I was talking about this at work. We deal with cameras and stuff at work. Kodak, remember Kodak? You bought film, it had to be Kodak. No other question. That was the film that you went to go buy. All right? So Kodak is still in the business with digital cameras. But when you go buy a digital camera now, you think Sony, Samsung, Nikon, because Kodak took so long to switch over to the digital game that they got left behind. That's kind of what baseball is being done right now. It's kind of being left in the back end of everybody else, in the back burner. Football's excelling. Basketball's excelling. Hockey, you have... okay, it's not past baseball, but you catch my drift. So baseball needs to do something in order to pick up the vibe back from everybody, because the youth, they don't have the youth. And you're right about the attention deficit disorder of this society. The videos that succeed are 30 seconds to a minute. If I see a video that's 3, 4, 5 minutes, I end up skipping around and I don't even really watch the whole video.
Kids aren't playing baseball. African Americans aren't playing baseball. At some point, it's going to affect the talent level and the pool that you use to feed into the system that's baseball. There's no reason for that. There has to be accessibility to that. And I'm hoping that this new commissioner finds a way to do things, not just on the surface, but where it brings that element of the game back. I think teams, look, you go and you watch games all over the country, a lot of empty seats.
Mm-hmm.
What an easy idea it would be, the same way the NBA has this ambassador program where they go into the inner cities of their cities where teams are and they get involved. Like, what a better ambassador program. Marlins are pretty good at this. And I'm not saying this to rag on the Marlins. I usually have a very loose tongue for things like this, but I'm not saying this to rag on the Marlins. But part of it is because they want people to go to the park, because they do have sometimes an issue of getting heads to the park. But, like, they do a great job with Parks and Recs during the summer camps and getting the kids to go out to their games and the way they set up their schedule. There's got to be ways. I remember in New York, man, there were days Yankee Stadium, they've got 20,000 tickets to kids in the Bronx. And get people involved in going out to the ballpark. Embrace personalities within the game so that it makes it more fun to watch. You know what I'm saying? Where's the Manny Ramirez's of this league anymore? They don't necessarily exist. So do all that stuff to engage the folks that consume the product. If you can't do that, you're going to lose them. And the consumers will also be the producers at some point, because people who consume the game generally, or people who play the game consume the game. So you're going to get people who play the game because they love the game. You've got to create an overall love for the game. Basketball's been genius in doing that. Genius. It's a global game. Everyone loves basketball, and they gravitate to these individuals that play the game. Why can't it be the same in baseball? It used to. It's not there right now. And this new commissioner has a big job on his hands, a tall task on his hands to figure out how he's going to bring those type of people back to this game. It needs to be that way. If not, it's going to quickly become the third sport.
Setting talent aside, you don't think that prices of tickets, prices of beers, prices of foods have anything to do with it?
Yes.
Because I think it has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's double the games, okay? I understand in basketball you're paying $80, $90, but you know what? You're paying $80, $90 for a ticket, but you know you're going to be excited because that's the kind of game it is. It's an exciting game. Baseball's more social. Baseball's more laid back. So it's double the games. You have 82 home games or 81 home games compared to the 41 for basketball. So it shouldn't cost you $50 a ticket to go to a baseball game. It should be how it used to be back in the day. $10, $15, going to the game, and then you buy a beer and a hot dog and you're good. By the time you walk out, you spend $25. Not $90 now when you go with your girlfriend or with your wife.
It's absurd, the prices to pay.
There's too much money
to go to a ball game.
It's too much money. That's why you see a lot of empty seats too. It's too much money. It's all about money. It's no longer about the entertainment of the game. It's about money. Corporate America taking over.
Yeah, but money comes from advertising dollars, from people consuming a product, from seeing a product and enjoying it.
So why is the ballpark charging me $18 for a beer?
That's what they do.
Well, then
wrong.
They're losing a lot of. That's where they're losing a lot of people. Going to a Marlins game, the cheapest Marlin game you could buy. Remember the fish tank seats? $4, $6 for fish tank seats. $1.50 for kids and $5 for adults.
Marlins have been great with that always because of their plight.
But the cheapest ticket you can find at a Marlins game right now is about $25.
Times change.
That's too much money.
That stadium, man.
It's too much money though. Isn't it better to charge a little less and fill the seats than charge a lot of money and only get like 100 fans at a game?
Here's the problem with that notion is sometimes they can't even give the damn things away. Like, and again, this is not a plight against them. We're in a tough time when it comes to that. Right now, past performance is predicting future, earnings and future decisions. These fans, they quietly and at their pace will warm up to this team again, but they're super jaded and pissed off. So many times the rug's been pulled out from under them. Every time they get excited about a team, it goes away. That's a tough pill to swallow. That's a local situation. On a national level with the game, I agree with you. There's no reason to pay $12 for a beer. That's pretty much absurd. And I get what's going on. That's the same beer that those beer companies will run events and give away. But that stadium is set up for $12. You can't convince me that there's not an in-between point with all of that. You can't convince me that $30 or $25 for parking, there's not an in-between point somewhere with all that stuff. And that even goes for football. It's big money, man. I understand what goes on. Football doesn't need the boost. People go to football games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a supply and demand thing, so you can charge a $30 football parking and get away with it. What bothers me in baseball is similar to what you're saying is there's empty seats. And I think you'd rather have butts and chairs than worry about what your price point is based on some, some metrics that you have that tell you need to get this amount of dollars for the seat for things to be cost effective. Whatever the case may be, you have to look at it going back to the roots of the game, and all 32 teams need to do this.
Yeah, and I get the Marlins suck. But think
actually
about
don't-
every
they actually
ballpark is
don't
the same
suck.
thing.
They
Okay,
actually don't suck,
but
but
the fan-wise.
the fan base.
Getting the
Yesterday
fans
the
to go to
game
the
was
games.
empty.
But look, it's not just the Marlins. Look around baseball. It's happening in Atlanta, too. Okay, it's happening everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you just can't say it's just because the Marlins, it's hard to get the fans in there.
I've been saying
It's
that
happening
for- I've
everywhere.
been saying
And a
that
lot
for
of it has
years.
to do with how much it costs to go to a baseball game. It's an event for me to go to a game right now. I circle it on my calendar. I go, I'm going to this game on this day. And that's it. I can only go to 1 or 2 games a season.
954-990-0036. We ran late. It was a good conversation. I invite you to chime in. Give us a call. When we come back, we'll talk a little more baseball. Still trying to get Manny Navarro to come on. See if we get him on in the 11 o'clock hour. We'll do that and so much more right here on the Amigo Show, SoFloRadio.com.
Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com.
At the Miami Princess Hotel, you are free to unlock the secrets of your imagination in one of our 8 exotic theme rooms, each designed to enhance your pleasure and provide a one-of-a-kind getaway experience with your loved one. A unique and treasured retreat nestled in the heart of the city, close to I-95 and the airport in Miami at 4251 Northwest 11th Street. Miami Princess Hotel provides theme rooms with 45-inch TVs, state-of-the-art sound systems, and jacuzzis. Give them a call, 305-441-1862.
SoFloRadio.com remains on the air with free archives thanks to the support of our listeners. Help keep us on the air by clicking the donate button on SoFloRadio.com. And thank you for your generous support.
The Amigo Show with Larry Million.
Yeah, I said it. Michael Jordan was the biggest thing in the NBA. LeBron is the biggest thing in the NBA. Same type of star. I'm not going to argue who's better today. And you look at that, right, Frank? And I remember Jordan. Like, I rooted against Jordan. You know why I rooted against Jordan? Whoa! Oh my my voice went soprano. Oh my goodness.
No, what I meant to say was when I, do you know why I root against?
You have failed.
That's what I was trying to say.
The Amigo Show, Saturday mornings from 9 to noon, only on SoFloRadio.com.
This is John Etch in the Sports Heads.
You don't flick a player off knowing he can't do anything back because he will get consequences for it. You know, like I applaud Joakim Noah for holding his composure, and then not flipping up because clearly we see he has a temper as it is.
Tuesday 7 to 9, Thursday 8 to 10.
John Edge and the Sports Heads.
On SoFloRadio.com.
You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million.
My name's Noah Jaybird. Noah Jaybird? Oh, you like to fly. What's your name, baby? They call me Soul Baby. Soul Baby? Yeah. Keep it in control, baby. Tears, no fears, man. Oh, is that right? Respect it, don't neglect it. All right, my brother. Treat it, don't beat it, all right, baby.
On SoFloRadio.com.
You're a badass mother.
On deck, young Derek Jeter, the future Hall of Famer.
On rookie in 96.
Just one of those careers for a few years.
There it is, the Yankees all-time hits leader. He is Mr. Derek Jeter. Mr. New York. Mr. Franchise. Mr.
Dynasty.
All-time.
Here's the kid, Derek Jeter, first big league assist. Here's the kid, Derek Jeter, first major league hit. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 hits. Holy cow! He creamed it. It's a huge honor to put this uniform on every day and come out here and play.
Mr. New York. Mr. Franchise. Mr.
Dynasty.
All-time.
Got that style, got that grace. He plays his game. Play the man from New York, New York. The switch from the captain from New York, New York. We have fun. I come ready to play every day. That's my job. Ready to play every day. It is gone.
Mr. New York. Mr. Franchise. Mr.
Dynasty.
All He's a man. He's a woman. All time.
10:29 here on the Amigo Show. I let it ride all the way through. You got to
else is
figure
there?
in 3 months it's not relevant. I can't play it anymore. So I might as well just milk that till it's milked. Kind of like what I did to the whole LeBron thing. Just milk it dry. App to listen live as well. All right. I'm texting my clown friends. I'm calling them clowns for a reason. A few months ago, came up with this brilliant idea, Frank. The Yankees are in Tampa this weekend. They got shut out last night, by the way. Came up with this brilliant idea. Wouldn't it be great for the boys to do a road trip to Tampa to go see Jeter play? So, first thing I'm thinking is like, oh, these guys, the appreciation of sports to see a great one last time. So I'm like, yeah, I'm all in. Good. I'm good to go. I was the first one in. Yay! Rah, rah, rah. As fate would have it, I'm going to see Jeter all right. Probably going to see him Wednesday night in Yankee Stadium. Got work. I'm away on business in Jersey this week. So, you know that I'm going to get my ass to Yankee Stadium. You know that that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So ironically, this trip that kind of spawned from an idea because I was around and everyone knows that I love Jeter, and the first one to say I'm in can't go, right? Usually you try to plan these things. Hardly anyone can go. Only one or two of you. Just about everyone got to make this trip.
Wow.
I can't make it because I fly out. I can't be there. Can't be there. I would have done the show from there.
When do you fly out?
Fly out tomorrow morning.
Oh.
Ouch, right?
Yeah.
All right, so guys getting ready. They do their little road trip. They leave this morning, I believe it was, or late last night. I'm trying to remember what it was. And it wasn't until yesterday that it dawned on me the reason these people were going up there. They're going for two reasons. They lose one by me not going. The other one they're still going to accomplish tonight at the game somehow. They're going to heckle Jeter.
What?
They were going for two reasons. To make fun of me get emotional from seeing Jeter.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know this. I got intel to this. And then the other was to heckle Jeter. So obviously I'm not there, so I'm not part of the equation. I texted them to listen because I wanted them to know that I busted their ass. They thought I didn't know. Now I know.
Are these Yankee fans?
No, these are all... we have one friend that has spent his entire... I've known him 25 years. And the biggest thing that ever stands out about my friendship with Danny is him telling me how Jeter's never been the best shortstop in his city.
And you were going to go with these people? These are your boys.
These are my boys, but they've tormented me forever,
wow.
Which is where my whole case with Jeter comes up. That's why I have statistical values as to why he's the greatest shortstop of all time. He's the greatest shortstop of all time, period. He passed Wagner last week. He's the greatest shortstop, all-around shortstop of all time, period. And over the years, I've made my case. Doesn't matter. The play where he dives into the stands, right?
Mm-hmm.
He says the normal shortstop would have been there waiting for the pop-up, but Jeter, because since he has no range and he's slow, he had to run, get it. That's why he fell and ran in and hurt his nose. The play against the A's, he says any good shortstop wouldn't be there. He was out of position, which is why he got lucky and made the play. Needless to say, the home run that Jeter hit where the kid reached his hand out, the Mayer kid, can't live that one down. Forget the guy has 5 rings. Forget the guy's 7th all-time on the hits list. 313 lifetime batting average or 312 lifetime batting average. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Sounds to me like you got the better end of the deal, though. Because while they got to go to that dump of Tropicana Field and you don't have to go see and deal with their crap, you get to go to the baseball cathedral.
I'm going to the cathedral. I'm going to the cathedral, my friend.
So you got the better end of the deal.
Now, let me tell you, it doesn't come without a sacrifice. I'll let you know, because it's not like I'm that close. We've had to make arrangements. Some guys from work chipping in on renting a car. We're about an hour from the Bronx, from where we're at in Jersey.
No trains?
No. Like there's the path that you can take in Hoboken to get you to the city and then train up. but it's the same hour to get to Hoboken that is the same hour to get to the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
So since we're renting a car, we're just going to drive. But the problem now that we're trying to figure out is, okay, so how do you park in the Bronx? You take the train. So there's got to be a way. So
there is, because I parked over there once, and there's actually like a little shopping center like right down the road,
right?
And you can park right there.
That's what the funniest thing to me is park. I don't know how to park.
Yeah,
man.
it's possible. It's possible because the last time I went to Yankee Stadium, when I sent you all those pictures, I actually parked because I was with my friend that lives in Connecticut, and we drove down to go to the game.
I went either in limo or on a train. There was no in between.
on that street where Stan's, that famous bar Stan's is, you keep going down that road away from Yankee Stadium, and there's a shopping center right on the right side.
Okay, yeah, I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think there's a Target there.
Yeah, that's like a couple blocks down the road. Though. They block off all the streets. You can't get in. Like, there's no driving around.
It's like a 7-minute walk, man.
Yeah, I know. No, yeah, I'm saying wherever you park, it's going to be a legit walk because it's like a mile circumference. They don't let cars in there.
And it wasn't too expensive. I think it was like $15.
Well, that's not bad.
Oh, so you're good.
No blocky, no blocky.
No blocky, no blocky.
So they're over there. I was hoping they'd call in because I want to give them grief. But anyway, so they're going to go heckle Jeter. How do you think that's going to go? Well, I mean, the strategy is smart. They're going to Tampa, right? Tampa's a rival. But everywhere Jeter goes, he gets a warm round of applause. I'm wondering if I'm going to see these clowns on the news today.
Are they to that extreme? Are they to that extreme?
Oh, I can tell you. I can't predict. I know one of them is gonna say stuff, and if the seats are good enough, they're gonna get heard.
Oh my! Oh my God!
He learned from the best, by the way. He learned from me. 954-990-0036. I don't want to be repetitive like an old man telling stories, but I have told you the rocker story when I heckled him, right?
Yeah, you did.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
I love heckling players. I love getting in their head. How do you heckle Jeter? My goodness. Lord have mercy. So I'm looking at these baseball standings, right? So if the playoffs ended today, your division winners in the National League would be, here I go dating myself, the Washington Senators, the Milwaukee Braves, and the Brooklyn Dodgers. Oh, goodness.
Great.
Is Henry Aaron playing? So, yeah, the Brewers, 2-game lead over the Cardinals. The Nationals, a 6-game lead over the Braves. Dodgers, 5.5-game lead over the Giants. You go to the American League. Jim Palmer's Baltimore Orioles are 7.5-game lead over the Jays, right? George Brett's Kansas City Royals have a 1.5-game lead over Detroit. Look at this. And the Oakland A's, a 1-game lead over the Angels. Something stands out to me. Nobody in baseball is playing .600. Nobody in baseball is winning 60% of their games. With a 162-game schedule, if you're good at math and you win 60% of your games, you win 97 games. That means no one in the league is on pace to win 97 games. Parity. And then through this parity is why teams like Kansas City will peek their head and go, hey, we're back.
Oakland fans will tell you round up.
Oakland fans will tell you?
Round up.
Round up?
0.598.
Mm-hmm.
Round up at 60%.
I got you now. I didn't understand at first what you meant. I just find what's going on in baseball fascinating. You look at the wild card standings, right? And actually, the one I like is when you go into MLB.com, and I invite you guys to do it, the postseason probabilities. Those are the best ones. But right now, it maps everything out for you. These websites are fantastic. Right? And you look, the wild card teams are the Angels and Robinson Cano's Seattle Mariners. So teams are fighting for divisions. Teams are fighting for position in the wild card. Yankees are 4.5 games out from the second wild card spot. That's a scary thought. Yankees aren't going to make the playoffs this year. National League, St. Louis and Pittsburgh have the playoff spots. Miami's they had a 4-game disadvantage for that second wild card spot. So they're in the hunt, both of these teams. But as you look at this parity, what ends up happening if you combine the parity plus the system of playoffs Now, in each league, in the American League, you feasibly have, I'm not even going to count the White Sox at 8.5 out. I'm with 33 to play, I guess it is, or whatever. How many more? Yeah, that's about right. So I'm gonna knock it off at them. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 10 teams in the American League, right? Within 5.5 games of qualifying. And in the National League, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams, 6.5 out from a playoff spot. Or better, obviously. 21 teams, mid-August, still very much in the hunt. Product of the new system for the playoffs. Product of the fact that there's a great deal of parity in baseball. When did this happen? There is no salary cap, right? We have forever argued that the rich teams win in baseball. I've always argued against that notion. Stats don't necessarily indicate it. It gives you a better chance. It does not secure diddly squat. Okay, and we've seen many, many occasions of teams that are not in the top 10 in salaries winning World Series. But when did this happen if there's not what we call a salary cap to bring that parity? NFL parity is always blamed on the salary cap, or always attributed. I shouldn't say blamed because it's not something wrong. Attributed to the salary cap. When did this happen in baseball? This is parity. And I'm asking you, Frank, and I asked the listeners, 954-990-0036. Ask yourself that question. At what point did this happen? Do you remember? Do you remember baseball 20 years ago? How many teams were in it with 35 to play?
3 or 4 teams
in each league, right?
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2.
You know, you had your teams that were ahead in the division, right, and then a couple of other teams, 2 or 3 teams that were stragglers, in the race.
Right?
Sometimes you'd have a 3-team race in a division. They incorporated the wild card. That expanded a little bit,
but it was rare.
21 teams in Major League Baseball right now that could wake up this morning and go, okay, what are we going to do for these final 35, 40 games and put a march to make it to the playoffs? How do we get in? That should create a big interest, a big spark in the game. It's fans, ratings. Is that what's happening? Is that not what's happening? These are all things that the new commissioner is going to have to address. I'm bewildered by what's going to happen in baseball over the next month and a half. Couldn't tell you what. You look at these standings, and the same way we're talking about the Brewers today, the Brewers tomorrow could lose 8 of 10 and be out of first place. That's how volatile baseball is today. People go on streaks. But there's no sustainability. No one's winning 60% of their games. That, to me, that's parity. Ladies and gentlemen, that's parity. We come back from break. We'll talk a little more. I'm going to shift it over to Canes football. I know you like to talk Canes football, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to shift it over to Canes football because there's some stuff to talk about there. I'm going to go back to that quarterback situation in Coral Gables. And your thoughts on this year's schedule. Get ready because you remember last week, 3-time called in, and now I'm stuck to a bet. I have to take the money line, and I'm fine with that. The notion of past performance affecting future results. Miami FSU, am I the only one that thinks that FSU's got their hands full?
No. I think we can give them a game.
I'm not trying to be the rah-rah dude. When we come back, we're going to talk about why I feasibly think they I know they don't have the depth FSU has, but why in the world is this notion that FSU is going to win by 4 touchdowns? I don't understand where it comes from. But we're going to look at the schedule because Miami doesn't have one tough game. They have several tough games. And I'm interested in seeing your thoughts on the schedule this year, kind of breaking down some of the positions as we saw that first depth chart come out this week, right? We'll talk about that quarterback position. I still think Heaps is a smarter move, but Brad Kaya showing all kinds of promise. And then where we're at as far as this defense is concerned. Well, we'll talk about that. Take your calls, so much more right here on the Amigo Show, SoFloRadio.com.
Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com.
The Amigo Show would like to thank the law offices of Hockman and Golden, PA at www.ticketlawfirm.com. Both attorneys Sonny Golden and Scott Hockman are graduates of the U, both undergrad and law school, celebrating 20 years of helping drivers with traffic-related incidents, speeding tickets, red light camera violations, accidents. 305-665-1000 or ticketlawfirm.com.
We asked this gentleman to participate in our radio taste test challenge. On one table, terrestrial radio. On the other, SoFloRadio.com. Do you have your blindfold on?
Yes.
Try a bite of this.
Oh, God, that's awful. Tastes like the soiled briefs of a lonely fat man.
You just had a taste of all sports and corporate-backed right-wing assassin talk radio. Now give this a try.
That's gotta be SoFloRadio.com. Entertaining, funny, informative. I love it. Can I have more?
SoFloRadio.com. A full plate of delicious entertainment.
The most important online radio station.
It's easier than ever to listen to SoFlo. On the air and everywhere. On any computer, any mobile device, iPhone, iTouch, and anywhere you are, just hit SoFloRadio.com. Tell your friends about South Florida's radio network, SoFloRadio.com.
I am the voice of terrestrial radio. Internet radio will not succeed. You will continue listening to sports, right-wing talk, and mayonnaise FM. If you disobey, we will punish you with more right-wing talk, sports, and mayonnaise FM. We are corporate, ergo, we are never wrong. Listen and obey. Listen and obey.
Shut it down, evil foe, for I am SoFloRadio.com, and I'm here to give back what people want to hear. A variety of entertainment, fresh music, comedy, and different points of view.
I own you.
Oh, your fart-radiating suit and tie don't frighten me, old chum. Behold the power of SoFloRadio.com.
My balls are falling off.
You only had one, my evil friend. There. Now you'll have to squat to pee. SoFloRadio.com. Castrating terrestrial radio. One ball at a time.
Hey, South Florida. Frank Fernandez here from the Frank Fernandez Show, and I'm here to tell you about the Last Carrot in Coconut Grove. Now, I've been able to eat whatever I want all my life, and I've never had any consequences to think about. But now as I'm getting older, I'm starting to see the effects and the importance in having healthy foods. Well, the Last Carrot is the place to go for a healthy treat. They have a full smoothie bar with fruits which are cut right in front of your eyes. And have I said delicious? Man, I picked up a mango banana smoothie the other day, which was not only delicious, but refreshing with a boost of natural energy. The Last Carrot also offers a variety of fresh veggie sandwiches on whole wheat pitas, fresh salads, and spinach pies. The best part of it all, it's in the heart of the Grove. So after you have your meal, you can take a nice stroll and enjoy the shops of historic Coconut Grove. So come on down to the Last Carrot and don't forget to tell them Frank Fernandez sent you so you can receive that SoFlo Radio discount and have some good, healthy eating. The Last Carrot is located on 3133 Grand Avenue in Coconut Grove, Florida, 33133.
Say, remember when radio was fun?
Now it's dead.
Because deregulation has allowed corporation to spread its tentacles like a giant octopus, absorbing radio stations around the globe. And that's why you hear this.
SoFlo Radio will stand and fight the corporate monolith. SoFloRadio.com. SoFloRadio.com.
You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million.
Guys, we didn't come here for no reason. I said, guys, this is ours, man.
On SoFloRadio.com.
Those men looked me in my eye and they said, we got this, Jameis. And I said, we said, I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said, we strong then.
Struck out 8, 2-hit shutout. That song, that's her. Monet Davis. Love that song. The Amigo Show here on SoFloRadio.com. Short segment. So I decided we're going to save the hurricane talk for 11 o'clock.
Cool.
Cool.
I thought about the little amigo yesterday.
You know, it's funny that you go to that, right?
You're looking for it.
Funny you go to that.
Did you know what I was going to say?
I have no idea what you were going to say, so I'll let you talk first because I was going to it too. Go ahead.
There's this kid in the Little League World Series. He plays for Illinois, and he has one of the coolest pregame rituals I've ever seen in my life.
Calls a chick.
He goes around the stands and he talks to all the girls. Yeah, I so thought of the little amigo, man. I mean, dude, this has little amigo written all over it.
Oh, my goodness. So you know that part of his repertoire is he's a singer, right? And like he doesn't want to come out and actually say it, right? I've offered to buy, to pay singing lessons for him not because he's my son, but if my daughter asked me to do it, I'd say no. No offense, baby, but the kid's got pipes. He doesn't want to do it. He thinks it's a little, He likes being the Old Spice man, bro. So, he's already at that age where he's starting to take liking to things. He's got a very silly sense of humor. What's this show? It's a kid's show. I'm dating now. I'm sounding like an old man. It's not Phineas and Ferb. See, this is where I need him to call in.
SpongeBob?
No, the SpongeBob, you're going way too far. This is where I need him to call in. So we're gonna get the clown to call in. This is where I need him to call in. Yep, I'm gonna get him to call in. This is what I'm gonna do. What is the name of this show?
Is it a cartoon?
Gravity Falls.
Whoa, I have no idea.
So some of the craziest, inane little things that they do, and he knows all the lines, and he's always chirping them off. So he's like a little bit of a dork, right? So he'll sit around and watch this, and he'll laugh at stuff. But in between all this, he's starting to have his own little taste. So you know that he has this thing for the Dan Le Batard show, right?
No, I didn't, but I have too.
Like, I have to fight with him to listen to my show, and rightfully so. I wouldn't listen to my show either.
Mm-hmm.
He'll listen to Levy. He made me send Levy a picture the other night. He had on his iPad a picture of the poster, and superimposed in the picture was a picture of Le Batard's, profile picture. Mm-hmm. And he wanted me to send that to Le Batard as a sign, I want him to know I'm a fan of his. Please take the picture, put up the picture, and I sent it to Dad, and I tell him to say hello to Poppy for me, because my son is a huge fan of Poppy. He thinks the old man's hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
And I've told the old man this. So the moment I send this to him, and I send it to Danny, and by the way, my son says that Danny immediately sends me this crazy picture of his dad at a Heat game during their championship, like 2013, like in the games then. He's like, it's just this crazy picture. As if you love him, here he is for you. But I can't get the son of a gun to call in my show. So, like, if I told him, if you had a chance, Poppy, to call into my show or Le Batard show, he'd call into Le Batard show. So he's getting ready for school, right?
Starts Monday, right?
Starts Monday.
Welcome traffic.
New school.
Oh.
So he's got to make new friends.
Right.
Right. And one of the things that's important to his repertoire is that his kicks be up to date. and ready to go for school.
Oh, he's got a kick game.
Oh, he likes nice shoes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he likes to have nice shoes.
Good luck.
Figures he has to wear uniform, right? He's gonna have to, and he wants to rock it the right way. So he's got this little haircut going now. I kind of call it like the pretty boy haircut. Like, like he's got,
the Superman thing?
No, the whole...
No, the whoosh. The old school Superman Clark Kent thing?
Oh, no, he's got the whole wavy, I'm a future model of America. Like, the new thing is he walks around with his shirt on. Like, he thinks he's just a badass. Like, this is starting to get a little to his head right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, asking for dates as to when he's going to get braces so that the teeth can straighten out. I think he's already planning for the future. I think that he had a little eye-opener, and he realizes and discovered the world of women.
Oh, my God.
See, we went to Naples for a few days, and I think there was a discovery process and all of that made him realize, wait a minute, there's what? I have a vain child, bro. I have a child who looks at himself in the mirror. He's vain. He's preparing himself for the future. The kid who was afraid to talk to little girls has no inhibitions whatsoever. Doesn't matter what age they are. And the latest of his conquests was a couple weeks ago, actually. A group of friends. And one of the daughters of my friends, I gotta say, she's probably 22.
Whoa.
Okay. So my son got looks from somewhere. Not from me. But a good-looking kid. And like his dad, likes to smell good when he goes in somewhere. So like he's into this is where this whole thing spawned off. But he has spawned off because that's the deodorant scent. Homeboy will go to my cologne stash so that he smells right. So a lot of times he goes to the old Cuban, the violetas, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's starting to see beyond the violetas already. Like, it's not about that anymore. That was kind of cool. He'll let his mom put it in his hair or whatever because it makes... And the kid always smells good. But now he's into the other fragrances. So the other day we go to an event and I see him go give the girl a hug and a kiss. And she squeezes him and she gives him kisses.
The 22-year-old.
Yeah. So she makes a confession to us. She says... Oh my God, I have a crush on your 9-year-old. My wife and I look at each other like, okay. I'm thinking, what did this kid do now? Like, I'm already thinking, what did you do, right? And he's like, he smells so good. I just want to hug him and kiss him the whole time he's around me. So I look at Anthony, like, you're listening to this because I have to be careful how I tread here. Like, if I make too much of a big deal about it, I'm going to get smacked on the head by the wife.
Right.
But I give him the eye, like, you see, bro, you got to always smoke. And the guy who used to get shy, the guy who used to not like to talk about it, roll his eyes, had a little smirk on his face. Like, yeah.
I got this.
Like, yep, I got this. And she said, so the girl continues to say, I actually feel guilty about having a crush on a 9-year-old. He's delicious or something like that. Because he smells good. And I said, so I pulled him aside. I go, do you see, bro? Because now I'm into having the one-on-one man talk with him away from his mom.
Of course.
So like he understands that there's guy code, right?
Yep.
He's starting to understand guy code. I go, you see, bro? I go, you got it? I go, look what happened there, dude. 22-year-old? Are you kidding? She's too old for me. I go, Puppy, she's not really like hitting on you. She's saying that, you're handsome and that you smell. She goes, no, she really likes me.
No. Hold on.
She really likes me. She hugs me all the time when she sees me. So I know that she likes me. Oh, yeah, you're right. She does hug you all the time. He goes, I know she's older than me. He goes, but it's kind of cool that she likes me. I'm like, okay, puppy, whatever. I'll let him go with it. Pretty girl, too. Real pretty girl.
Wow.
And he does this, and he's got cousins that think, oh, my God, he's so adorable. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. What in the world are we going to do now? I tried everything. Like, we'd be walking around in Naples, and I go, Papi, look to the left. What do you think? Dad, she's ugly. And I'm like, Papi, take a look again. I go, you come to the determination on your own. I'm not telling you nothing. I want you to tell me what you think. Nah, she's not pretty. But then he'll come and tell me, he goes, hey, He'll give me the chin. He'll give me the chin. Hey, she's nice. Oh, okay. So we're starting to get him in that. So I'm wondering, in the same way he took to sports and he got so advanced with it, like, tengo un mujeriego on my hands here. This guy, like, he takes pride in this stuff, and I'm starting to see a side of him that's actually a little. So now he's going to a new environment, new school. I'm thinking he's gonna kill it over there. Like, it's not about the little friends since kindergarten anymore. Now it's the shock value of I walk in smelling good and looking nice. How you like me now?
Yeah.
And I caught on to him. I'm like, this is why you wanted to change atmosphere. Like, he's starting to discover himself. So if you ever had the balls to call in my show, I'm not Dan Levitard, little twerp. Getting too big for his own britches. I've created a monster.
No offense to you, but I'm keeping him away from my sister. So by the way I say good luck to her, she's trying out to be a hurricanette today.
She'll be fine. She'll be fine.
So all the more reason to keep her away from the little amigo. Because they'll be in the same venue.
See him arms crossed watching the tryouts. Scoping out talent. Scouting like Coley, right? Arms crossed, stoically looking to see.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a trip, bro. I don't know. I've created a monster. So I ran late, so when we come back from break, it'll be the third hour of the show. I won't be successful in getting Manny Navarro because I think he's in practice. That's why I haven't heard back from him. I thought it'd be. I don't know anything anymore.
Hey, Jared Payton called during practice.
He did. It's because he's my friend. All right, bro. So when we come back, third hour of the show. Do you want to talk more football?
I want to talk Hurricanes football. I don't want to talk any other football than that.
All right, then we'll talk Hurricanes football when we come back.
Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com.
The Owen Frank Noodle Show.
So how do people actually do it, males, in the region?
Nah, see, I don't.
Dude, if you say you have that much pain on your arm and legs, that's unacceptable. At that point, something's going on.
I don't go to that level though. I trim with a little machine, bro. You know
little buzzer?
Little buzzer. It's buzz down there, a little manscape, and we're good to go. Hey, bro, you got a manscape nowadays. No chick wants to go down there and, you know what I'm saying, feel hairs.
No, that's terrible.
That's
and
terrible.
Neither do we, so you got, it goes both ways, right?
It goes both ways, brother. You know what I'm saying? Some chicks go down there, you got hair, and they're like, whoa, wait, let me come back up.
Hold on, cowboy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The Owen Frank Noodle Show. Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. only on SoFloRadio.com. Hey, South Florida. Frank Fernandez here from the Frank Fernandez Show, and I'm here to tell you about the Last Carrot in Coconut Grove. Now, I've been able to eat whatever I want all my life, and I've never had any consequences to think about. But now as I'm getting older, I'm starting to see the effects and the importance in having healthy foods. Well, the Last Carrot is the place to go for a healthy treat. They have a full smoothie bar with fruits which are cut right in front of your eyes. And have I said delicious? Man, I picked up a mango banana smoothie the other day, which was not only delicious, but refreshing with a boost of natural energy. The Last Carrot also offers a variety of fresh veggie sandwiches on whole wheat pitas, fresh salads, and spinach pies. The best part of it all, it's in the heart of the Grove. So after you have your meal, you can take a nice stroll and enjoy the shops of historic Coconut Grove. So come on down to the Last Carrot and don't forget to tell them Frank Fernandez sent you so you can receive that SoFlo Radio discount and have some good, healthy eating. The Last Carrot is located on 3133 Grand Avenue in Coconut Grove, Florida, 33133.
Say, remember when radio was fun? Now it's dead.
Because deregulation has allowed one massive corporation to spread its tentacles like a giant octopus, absorbing radio stations around the globe. And that's why you hear this.
SoFlo Radio will stand and fight the corporate monolith. SoFloRadio.com. SoFloRadio.com.
We asked this gentleman to participate in our radio taste test challenge. On one table, terrestrial radio. On the other, SoFloRadio.com. Do you have your blindfold on?
Yes.
Try a bite of this.
Oh, God, that's awful. Tastes like the soiled briefs of a lonely fat man.
You just had a taste of all sports and corporate-backed right-wing assassin talk radio. Now give this a try. That's gotta be SoFloRadio.com. Entertaining, funny, informative. I love it. Can I have more?
SoFloRadio.com, a full plate of delicious entertainment.
You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million.
Oh, have you not heard? It was my understanding that everyone had heard. Heard what? Brian, don't! Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. Bird, a word, well, a bird, bird, bird. Bird, a word, well, a bird, bird, bird. Bird, a word, well, a bird, bird, bird. Bird, a word.
On SoFloRadio.com.
Papa uma mau mau, 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 papa uma mau mau.
That's what we're going to do to all our opponents. Crap on them. Final hour of the show here. SoFloRadio.com. The Amigo Show brought to you by Miami Princess Hotel. I love that song. It's just difficult for me to talk over it.
Yeah, buddy.
I applied for my credentials yesterday. Hadn't done it yet. I missed luncheon yesterday. I always get to go to that. That's a lot of fun.
That's cool.
I missed it, though.
Yeah.
It happens. You excited about the season?
Yeah, I'm very excited about the season.
Do I sound excited?
Not right now.
I'm worried, bro.
Why are you worried? What worries you?
Well, what worries me is the $100 I won last night on blackjack. Not a lot. You're playing at a $25 table, but I walked at least surviving.
Okay.
Had ups and downs throughout the evening. Then I'm going to lose those $100 to this clown at work. Because I let my Cane's pride get in the way, and I didn't let objectivity prevail. Or should I not be worried?
You got the points in your favor, right? You did bet the points? Or
No, I took the money line.
Took the money line.
I mean, I think the Canes are going to win. That was the bet last week when we had them on the phone. Yeah, no points. Anyway, let's talk about the Louisville game.
Well,
November's
what are you talking about? It
time.
didn't even happen. Remember we cut that from the tape?
Yeah, no. He's holding me to it. Running around work talking crap all week 3 times. So, obviously, our sights are only set on that Louisville game. 8 p.m. Monday, September 1st. Labor Day, actually. I don't expect good things to come from that game.
Really?
Yeah. See, I am the proponent of those night televised games at your home stadium that are not on Saturday, although you can have the equal frenzy on a Saturday. But what am I talking about? I'm talking about that Thursday night, that beginning of the season Monday night.
That one worries me. The Monday opener worries me. Those were some of the ugliest UMFSU games when we played on that Monday night.
Yeah. So I'm a little concerned about what comes from it. I know that Bridgewater's not throwing passes for Louisville anymore, but they've been a well-coached unit. They've been recruiting talent well, especially from down here.
Different coaching staff.
I know. They uprooted everything that was there last year, but nonetheless, kids that are there are there. You can only hope that there's a little disarray because of the change. But that game to open the season concerns me.
So is it my homer and my excitement that the season's coming back and all the hype that I've heard around camp that makes me believe that we're not going to have any issues in that game? Because I have no worries.
You have no worries?
I have no worries about that game. Bridgewater's not there anymore. I feel like that's what torched us last year. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's my excitement with all the stuff that I've been hearing about camp about the whole team. Because we've been hearing a lot of good stuff coming out of camp. There hasn't been too much negativity. Usually we hear the negativity.
They come back home. They play the Rattlers, Florida A&M, and Arkansas State. Can't underestimate Arkansas State, but certainly 2 opponents they're supposed to beat. And then they head off to the hills, or to Lincoln, Nebraska, that is, to play Nebraska September 20th.
That one worries me a little bit.
Really? Another night game, by the way.
Yeah.
Apparently it's the Super Bowl every time the Canes come into town. It's a good thing they're not relevant anymore. How are you better served going into this game? Are you better served with an experienced quarterback, albeit limited success, because if not, he wouldn't be hopping around from school to school, that is Jake Heaps. Or a kid like Brad Kaya that shows you that your football acumen tells you he has the skills to be great at this position, but has a lot to prove and a lot to learn. What's the direction you're going? What helps your team win today?
In the Nebraska game or in the Louisville game?
Why? And you're not the only one, dude. What is it with people that are looking at the quarterback situation in Miami on a game-to-game basis? Like, I would hope the quarterback they select is the quarterback for the season.
The reason why it comes across that way is because we know that Kaya has what it takes to be the guy.
Then start him.
But with what we said in the beginning of the show, that the inexperience kind of worries us. So we're going with the experience.
And then if plan B is having to go to Kaya, then things are really bad.
Why so? In the beginning of the season, why is it bad? If we lose one game and we look like crap the rest of the games and we say, let's make a change, let's try to save this, why is it bad if we only have one loss?
You're not worried about Monday night in Louisville, but you are worried about Saturday night in Nebraska 19 days later. I think the only way you can win both of those football games is with the fifth-year senior. He's played in a loud stadium before. Brad Kaya was throwing passes on Thursday nights this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the freshman mentality. I mean, albeit the last 2 Heisman winners were both redshirt freshmen, but they were freshmen nonetheless. I just think that he can learn so much. He can be in a position to be ready. It'll help him prepare to be ready in the event this guy slips. And I hope that that's not what happens. But I think he best helps you win both of those games. And why do I point to both of those games? Because if you can walk out 4-0 into that Duke game here in Miami, it'll be the first ACC game. Second, because Louisville's an ACC team now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Brain fart. Sorry about that. Now, all of a sudden, remember that promise last year as they kept on winning and they kept on going up in the rankings? All of a sudden, you're starting to experience that. It's such a difficult position to be in because he's just a Johnny-come-lately. Everybody else, there's been time invested. There's been plans invested. But, my goodness, don't you want to stop losing to FSU by 28? Don't you want to play for an ACC title?
Yeah.
Don't you think, regardless of whatever upside Kaya brings, that you're better prepared for the challenges that are going to lead to that with the senior?
How can you be so confident saying that? Remember, we were saying that there's got to be a reason why he's gone through 3 schools in 4 years.
But even that's got to be better than a freshman who hasn't seen anything.
But we don't know that.
But my question isn't what we know or don't know. What we feel will best suit us and put us in the best position to be most competitive this year. I'm not talking 2 or 3 year window. I'm talking 1 year window.
Well,
I'm talking Louisville.
This year I said heaps. This year I said heaps because we don't need a big time play quarterback. We need a game manager. With all the skilled players and all the talent that we have around, we need somebody that's gonna just manage the game.
Right.
And I'm saying this because one thing that we didn't do last year was throw the ball to Duke in the backfield. He only caught 4 passes all year. We need to start involving him in there. That's all about managing the game. You throw those little dink passes here, dink passes there, maybe hit him with a home run here and there. Right. But that's a game manager. Mm-hmm. That's what we need. That's why I think Heaps is the better person right now. That's why I think we should keep Kaya in the back burner. But if it comes down to a situation that we're not winning and it's all about winning this year for Golden, then I see Kaya coming in.
954-990-0036. I just hate the notion that it's on a day-to-day. Like you don't have a guy and, okay, this is your guy. And unless he gets hurt, he's going to be your guy. You feel me? Like, that's not the impression I get.
But that's what comes with every quarterback controversy. When it's a clear-cut winner, you don't have this dilemma of, okay, we'll wait till game 3 or 4 and then we'll see how the other one goes. That's what comes with the package of a quarterback controversy. And that's what UM's in the middle of right now. The biggest quarterback controversy they've probably ever been in.
Well, they had their hands full when they decided to go with
Marv.
Oh,
so who you're thinking about?
You're thinking so close.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Far back.
Yeah,
thinking back when they decided to go with Bernie Kosar. I mean, they had some pretty good quarterbacks on the bench on that team.
Okay, so I wasn't around back then. Was the controversy like this?
It's a different time, but yeah, there was. I mean, that's the last time it was like this to me. It was then, because I know you're pointing to the Marv thing. Yeah, the Marv was Marv Harris, right?
Yeah.
They were back and forth.
That's when they did the 2-quarterback system.
Like, how do you maximize Philip Dorsett in his senior year? You know what I mean? Like, you do that with a guy who's a senior. They both have something to prove. Like, there's a fire that builds from that. Do you think Dorsett's going to give a rat's ass about a freshman quarterback?
Well,
Duke's coming back.
The
do you know how much weight Duke weighs?
Yeah.
Did you see
how much? 20-something pounds.
I'm going to read it from here. 5'9", 206. He got to Miami 192, I think it was. Now, we're not talking about a guy that's 6'3", bro. We're talking about a guy who's 5'9", 206. He put on 15 pounds. Just about.
You're saying that, do you think Dorsett's going to care for a freshman quarterback throwing him the ball?
I think you'll get more out of Dorsett from a senior who's going to look into another senior's eyes and say, we got stuff to prove here. We got fools to prove wrong. I'm just saying, I'm tired of the notion that this team's not good enough. I'm tired of the notion. I am tired of hearing about FSU, by the way. I've had it when it comes to FSU. And I think that it's time for them to put themselves in a situation to compete in that game and to compete in some of those big games. And Louisville and Nebraska, before there's an FSU game, there's a Louisville game and there's a Nebraska game. And those are games that, in my estimation, are big enough that can set the table for this team. And the best way they're suited to win those games is you put the senior at quarterback. You've got Dorsett. You've got Coley. Obviously, with Duke Johnson at the running back position, and he's got some guys, that'll help him with a few carries here and there. You got Malcolm Lewis on the other side right now. He's on top of the depth chart, a wide receiver, a redshirt sophomore who can run like the wind. You've still got Herb Waters in his junior year. Got a little something to prove as well. I don't know, man. You're off.
Here's a question coming in from the Twitter feed. Is it worth starting a senior if he's being pushed this hard by a freshman?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm tempted. I know that what development does and how, you create but the thing is that a lot of the guys on this team, like, what are you telling me? We're going to win next year so that him and Coley can get a synergy because Coley being a sophomore. I just think that the guys that are going to make plays on this team this year are going to need to believe in whoever's throwing the rock. I think that you have enough guys at the quarterback position early on in their collegiate careers. Look, Olsen did it to himself. Too bad, so sad. You can redshirt a Kaya. You really can redshirt a Kaya and gain a lot of upside from redshirting him.
I remember this is James Coley's guy. He went to Cali. This is who he wanted to fit into his scheme. So that you can put that into consideration too.
954-990-00. You say we have a call on the line?
Yep.
Let's go to the call. You're on the line here. The Amigo Show. Oh, it's 3-time. What's up, 3-time?
Yo, what's up, Larry?
How's everything going, man?
Everything's going good, man. Listen, bro, I don't know why you keep on saying start a 6-year guy that's on his third program, man. I just don't understand. At some point, where you guys are as a program, and I ain't got no love lost for the Hurricanes, but where you guys are at the program to make that next turn and to get to that next level, bro, you're at a fork in the road, and you got to make a decision. Are we going to play for now, or are we going to play for next year, right? And I think with this freshman and the running game that you guys are projected to have, I think that's the way to go. Protect him with the running game and develop him in those certain situations that you're going to need for next year. Because Jake Heaps ain't helping you next year, right?
I get that.
Build this program back up.
But how do you recruit?
I don't understand what you guys.
But how does this program recruit? Okay, if they come back this year, and if I look at the schedule and I start thinking about not worst case scenarios, but bad case scenarios, right? So the bad case scenario that would also cost me $100.
Yeah, that's a definite.
Yeah, whatever.
That's not a scenario.
Also losing at Vatech and at Georgia Tech. I mean, Georgia Tech not as much of a worry, but at Vatech, I don't care how average Vatech is. That place to play on that place. By the way, a Thursday night game. Did you hear me, Tank? It's a Thursday night game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so good luck winning that. So now all of a sudden I look at the schedule and I'm like, oh goodness, there's like a half a dozen games in here that if we don't have the right leadership, we're going to be very open to losing. And I ask myself, how do you recruit next year? How do you stay competitive if you continue to be the also-ran? If you're not doing anything above average? And I get that maybe Kaya getting him all that time and all that preparation and all that synergy with the rest of the team can make wonders happen. But let's be frank. They got to make something. The needle has to move today. Today that needle has to move. The defense has to stop being a sieve. Something's got to give today. And I just don't know that if you don't agree with that something's got to give today, then start the freshman. But I think if we're all on the same page here, whether you're a Canes fan or not, all right, you know that something's got to give. It can't. Last year was a fantastic run, and then it collapsed. So you want to pick up where you left off before the collapse. If this team goes back to 7-5, you've done nothing. You've done absolutely nothing. You can't continue to sell the promise of the future. It just makes you the collegiate Miami Dolphins.
Amigo, man, come on. The guy that sent in that Twitter question is absolutely right, bro. If a fifth-year senior is getting pushed this hard by a freshman, here's the philosophy that you got to start having, and that team has got to start having. Play the best guy.
Adding to that,
play the best guy.
Adding to that, Amigo, you're making it sound like Dorsett and all these guys are loyal to Heaps. Both guys just got there, and the talk around the locker room is that Kaya has made cool with everybody. Everybody likes the attitude that Kaya brings out on the table. So why wouldn't Kaya be the better guy around? It seems like this guy isn't acting like a freshman. This guy is to a different maturity level than how freshmen act. Even more mature than homeboy over here for a 3-time, not doing crime, stealing crabs, and all the other time.
We're not gonna attack 3-time.
Shot to 3-time.
Today we're in a peace mode.
Hey, I never get my shot. I never get my shot.
Today we're not gonna, but I do, like, before you go 3-time, there's like a couple of important questions I do want to ask you, but I mean, I get all of it, and the one thing I really love about Kaya, he's 6'4". I like tall quarterbacks. I think they work. And he's got athleticism at that height that makes him pretty much a unique type of athlete. But do you see when you're competing as far as recruiting against a team in your state that just won a national championship, who has beat you the last 2 times you've played them by 4 touchdowns each time, the reason I focus on that is because there's no Gator game to focus on this year. So if you come into that game and you've lost to Louisville and you've lost to Nebraska and maybe you've lost to Virginia Tech, so you've not played well on the road and you've not played well against good teams, and you lose to FSU, like, why would anyone want to come to Miami? I don't care. Oh, it's in my blood. I love it. Like, that story, in my opinion, is starting to get old because I'm getting old and I remember the good old days, I hope these kids really do have the pride, but how many times have we seen a kid change his mind? How many times have we seen a kid go to another program? How come we're not recruiting, even though our recruiting classes are fairly good, very good actually? We keep losing these blue chips to other programs that are here, like local kids going elsewhere, i.e. Teddy Bridgewater, You know, and we're not getting those guys to stay home, and it's because the promise of
Amigo.
winning's not there. Go ahead.
Amigo, all right, so if I'm an 18-year-old high school kid and I'm watching this season, I'm saying I got the Hurricanes on my radar. You think I want to see how great Jake Heaps is, knowing he's not going to be there next year when I get on campus?
No.
I want to see the guy I'm going to play with. If I'm a wide receiver, a 5-star wide receiver, I want to see the guy that's going to be throwing me the ball for the next 4 years.
Good point. That's a good point.
I don't want to see the fifth-year senior who ain't going to be there next year.
Okay. I can.
So that's when you start to turn that corner in recruiting that you're talking about. I agree with you. You guys are losing way too much recruits. And I've always said this. Man. College football is better when Miami, Florida State, and Florida are good. And I hate the last two, right? But it's better when we're all good. So for you guys to start getting better, man, you got to start showcasing what you have and just let it go because you got to play the best guy. It sends a message to those recruits that, hey, you come here and you're better than that junior, you're going to start.
You went to high
right on,
yeah, you hit it on the
right
head.
on, man.
I have to blow him out of the water because he sounds too right and he's making me sound bad. So you've lived in South Florida your whole life?
What happened?
You lived you're before you went to college. You lived in South Florida most of your life, right?
Yeah.
Wow, bro, you're a real loyal Seminole fan. Living down here, having been a Seminole fan. Oh, wait a minute, that's right. No, you were a Canes fan, weren't you? Yeah, that's right. You go ahead. I let you sleep and lull a little bit and make you think we're having nice nights. You're an old Canes fan, and all of a sudden you change your colors.
Here you go. You got to let me answer that then. You got to let me tell you. You got to let me set that one straight, right? So I wasn't born in Miami. I moved here when I was 7. And I started watching college football right around 89, 90, 91. And yeah, I was like, man, these Hurricanes are pretty good. They're the local team. They're always on TV. And then I saw that 91 game against the Seminoles, and I'm like, damn, that is a tough way to lose because that other team was better than Miami. And I was like, they were better than Miami that day. They didn't deserve to lose that game that way. And I was like, you know what? That team is good. And
actually, that was the day. That was the day. That had to be the day. The moment you start legitimizing that the better team lost through a kick, you made yourself instantly a perfect Seminole fan at that point. You were destined to go to school there because you were walking the walk, you were talking the talk, you were doing what Seminoles do.
Hey, call it what you want. I was a kid still being molded as a fan. And I was like, you know what? I'm rolling with those dudes.
No,
I'm rolling with that
you were doing exactly. I mean, 100%.
Ironically, since 91, we've got 3 rings. You only got 1. So calm down.
Is that where you're going with this, really?
After 91, we've gotten 3. You got 1.
What a way to try to make him feel better.
Hey, so calm down. Hey, listen, go back and start talking about all those rings that you got when nobody knew who your quarterback was, or that Bernie Kosar started over a whole bunch of other dudes on that team. Even your own boy sitting there telling you, I don't remember that.
See, why do I allow him to do this?
Nobody remembers those 4 other rings, Larry.
Listen, but at the end of the day, like, this is where you always lose this. Like, you did well there. You showed us that you know a little football, right? You made a good point as to why Kaya should start. Answered directly to one of my questions that was a concern. I gave you the respect, and then you started talking like a Seminole. So I know that over there in Tallahassee, you guys have, like, it's hard to tackle the quarterback over there. You know that, right? If it's not the offensive line, it's the Tallahassee Police Department, right? But I also know that there's not a whole lot of math prowess in Tallahassee. With simple algorithms and simple.
Saying nobody remembers 4 of them.
Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but I know this. Once you have a ring, you always have a ring, right? Like, ask Notre Dame. The cheating scandal here, which I thought I was going to talk about. I never brought it up because I hate Notre Dame, right? Second year in a row, they have something going on of this nature, right? But they've won 9,200 championships in God knows how many years because Jesus has been playing football since before the beginning of time, right? And Notre Dame was the only university that won national championships. I can't stand those sanctimonious sons of bitches. And this scandal couldn't happen to a better school, right? So there, I threw it out there, right? But at least they're pretty good at math, and they use the math to their advantage. So I'm thinking that we have a lot of doctors that come out of the University of Miami, And there's got to be some mathematical prowess in being a doctor. And if not, then let me enlighten you. 5 will be always greater than 3. And unless this year's national championship's worth 2, which it's not, and you're not going to win it anyway, so it doesn't matter, you will continue to be under us in the charts of national championships, no matter when they were won, because nobody takes away Notre Dame's national championships when the Four Horsemen were running around and doing what they did 147 years ago. So I'll remind you that no matter when it was won, my friend, 5 shall always be greater than 3.
Hey, Amigo, I love when you use this ring argument when it supports your team. If that's the case, Robert Horry is an all-time NBA All-Star.
He's one of my heroes.
He's a Hall of Famer, and he got 7 rings, and LeBron only got 2.
He's one of my heroes. When I met him, I played with him, played the whole, hey, you make Big Shot Bob. And I go, it takes a real man to win 7 rings. And I like that. That's a nice quality.
Yeah, you keep using those little 5-ring arguments, man. That's really gonna make a difference on the field come November.
You know who else has 5 rings?
Just have my money ready. Amigo, just have my money ready.
You know who else has 5 rings?
Kaya back there. You got Heaps back there. Hell, you can play both of them at the same time. You guys are still gonna lose.
Oh goodness! You know what?
You can play 3 quarterbacks back there in that game. It ain't gonna make no difference, dog.
Yeah. Okay.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Hey, Larry. Hey, good luck, man. I hope everybody makes it out of spring practice, out of fall practice healthy. I hope you guys have a good season.
Go fly a kite. Goodbye.
Later 3 times. So
I run out of things, I have to go to the buttons.
Let me read you this text that we just got in. Okay.
Boy.
On a recruiting visit to UM, Coley recalled, Kaya took out his notebook in an offensive staff meeting. Coley had seen that before, but what really surprised him was that in subsequent phone calls, Kaya, in quotes, would speak in our language, like, I saw you guys hit rodeo against Florida. Coley said, I knew right then and there, this is a different kind of kid. I like what 3 times said that recruits coming in want to see who's going to be throwing them the ball, not a 5th-year senior. They just have time passing by.
No, dude.
And with the recruiting classes that Golden has been bringing in, and remember, Golden's recruiting class in 2015 is already number 1 verbally. They want to see who's going to throw them the ball. Just imagine how much better that recruiting class can get if they see who's going to be throwing them the ball, and they see how good Kaya really is going to be.
954-990-0036, number to call. I'm still trying to cajole Navarro to come on. Let me see. Yep, I'm going to try to get him to come on. Let's go to break. When we come back, you know what? I don't even feel like running commercials anymore. We'll goof off the rest of the half hour as we come to the close of the show here at 12 o'clock. So when we come back from break, I'll try to get Manny on. If not, we'll take your calls and finish out the show right here. Amigo Show, SoFloRadio.com.
Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com.
Escape with your loved one to your own private fantasy world at the totally renovated Miami Princess Hotel, 4251 Northwest 11th Street, next to the airport in Miami. Unlock the secrets of your imagination in one of our 8 exotic theme rooms. Journey to the Orient in the Japanese room. Ancient delights await in the Roman room. Be the king of your jungle in the Tarzan room. Breathtaking suites designed to provide the utmost of intimacy. Miami Princess Hotel, located close to I-95 and the airport. Give them a call, 305-441-1862. That's 305-441-1862.
We asked this gentleman to participate in our radio taste test challenge. On one table, terrestrial radio. On the other, SoFloRadio.com. Do you have your blindfold on?
Yes.
Try a bite of this.
Oh, God, that's awful. Tastes like the soiled briefs of a lonely fat man.
You just had a taste of all sports and corporate-backed right-wing assassin talk radio. Now give this a try.
That's gotta be SoFloRadio.com. Entertaining, funny, informative. I love it. Can I have more?
SoFloRadio.com. A full plate of delicious entertainment.
This is John Etch in the Sports Heads.
Well, somebody told Wesley Snipes that it was unconstitutional to pay taxes.
Oh, my God.
That, they can't charge taxes. It's not in the Constitution. So he's like, hey, man, it's not in the Constitution. Yeah, but it's a law. So now you're going to jail. Thank you for admitting it, by the way.
Put yourself in these guys' shoes. You get a check for $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to claim taxes on that?
Yeah, I am. You know what?
Tuesday 7 to 9, Thursday 8 to 10.
John Edge and the Sports Heads.
On SoFloRadio.com.
By the Glass.
By the Glass is a show about beverage culture.
Brad Hubbard.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the dots on how everything works together. It's really all about how we enjoy things, how we enjoy life, and how beverages play a big part in that. I'm going to bring in people that are going to display their aspect of the culture. I'm going to bring in people that are going to show you different products. We're going to look at places where people go to consume these beverages and how they all interact. Things are built around the actual beverage itself.
By the Glass. Thursdays from 6 to 7. Only on SoFloRadio.com.
You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million.
Water sucks. Gatorade is better. Gatorade not only quenches your thirst better, it tastes better too, idiot.
You're drinking the wrong water.
Gatorade.
H2O.
Gatorade.
H2O.
On SoFloRadio.com.
Water sucks. It really, really sucks. Water sucks.
No, stop
it
saying
really,
it.
really
You
sucks.
don't mean that. You're bad people.
11:36 here on the Amigo Show. See, I don't stop until I get. Thing is, he's such a great guest. I know he's limited with time, so we're gonna go right to him, and when we come back, we'll take a couple final few calls. I know guys are trying to reach in. Reach us here at 954-990-0036. I see a couple calls coming in. We got to put you on hold, or if we're not answering you, once the interview's over, please call us back. I want to take your thoughts on the Hurricanes that we've been talking about throughout the show here on the Amigo Show. So joining us from the Miami Herald, Manny Navarro, good friend of mine. Talk a little bit about the Miami Hurricanes. How are you, my friend? How's everything going?
I'm doing good, Larry. How are you?
Doing wonderful, bro. It's been a while. We've been nonstop at it. I have a way of looking at the quarterback situation. It seems to be the talk of, training camp over there as far as what's going to happen, what direction's the team going to go. But before I go to that, I want to ask, you've been out there pretty much every day. I've not been able to make it this year. I've been reading up on it. You guys do a great job, all of you that cover it. And certainly, Twitter's been an amazing tool for all of us. Plus, I get the notes as well and the quotes. It seems as if some guys on defense are playing very well. And I'm wondering your thoughts on where the defense is going as far as what you think improvements are. Will it be a better unit than it has been the last 2 years? And how do you feel that'll affect the overall scheme of Miami Hurricanes football coming into this season?
Well, Larry, I think they're deeper on the secondary and on the defense line. I think linebacker is still an area of concern because of the two guys that were kicked off the team last month. And, but overall, I think they're more solid up front and better in the secondary. I mean, one guy who's really stood out is Dallas Crawford. I think that's probably one of the smartest moves Al Golden has done, just to strengthen that area. Safety's been an area where injuries had really ravaged the unit, and they needed a leader back there. And I think Dallas Crawford being a backup to Duke Johnson, while it was beneficial to have a great running back, you could always use more help on defense.
Well, certainly they've been talking a lot about him. I brought him up earlier in the show. I was actually telling my producer how impressed I am with how he's playing. He's flying around. He's knocking people around. He's picking passes off. He's doing a great job, and obviously a good compliment to Deion Bush as well back there with the safety position. But I also hear Jamal Carter's playing pretty well as well. So your thoughts on him, how he's been kind of challenging Deion Bush a little bit. And furthermore, I know your concerns with the linebacker position, but where do you think in strengthening the safeties and what seems to be a secondary that's probably the better part of this defense with also when you talk about guys like Ladarius Gunter on the other side, your thoughts on how they may affect the middle of the field. Teams seem to like to attack the middle of the field. how can this defense adjust to kind of minimize what is an exposed linebacker area and position for the Miami Hurricanes?
Well, I mean, I think it's two things really, Larry. Number one, you got to get more pressure on the quarterback, and I think D'Onofrio, the defensive coordinator, really feels like he's got much more depth in the defensive line. He's got guys at defensive tackle they're going to be effective. Calvin Hurtley, I think, was a huge pickup for Miami. He's one of the JUCO kids, and that having him in the middle, having him, cause some disruption is going to help them just rush four guys instead of having to bring extra blitzers. I think you're going to see Anthony Chicolo get to the quarterback more. I think it's like Chad Thomas is going to help out as well. True freshman, the most highly regarded kid in the class. So I think they're going once they start getting more pressure on the quarterback, that's going to help the guy in coverage. Now, obviously, the middle of the field has been an area that they've been exposed. Everybody remembers what North Carolina tight end Eric Ebron did to him last year, and what other tight ends have done to this defense in the past. And I think the safety position, strengthening that area, is obviously going to help that. But there's still a lot of question marks at linebacker. What kind of job are those guys going to do in coverage? I think that's where the majority of the teams exposed Miami last season. Those guys have to do a better job, hitting the run gaps and as well as pass coverage.
Our ends, I mean, Chicolo's obviously put on a little bit of weight. I don't want to use, I'm very careful to be critical of the kids. I mean, they're doing the best they can. We're hoping to see great things from Chicolo in his senior season. But on the other side, kids like Trent Harris and Tyreek McCord, while they have all the talent in the world, they're really quite small for the position. So your thoughts on how they can affect a defensive line as you bring up Calvin Hurtley and guys like Olsen Pierre. Those are big guys that stop up the middle in this 4-3. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the other end and whether or not they're going to be? I mean, Chicolo's got a lot to carry on his shoulders, and are guys like Harris and McCord and even a guy like Chad Thomas. I know he's a freshman, but he might see some time. Are these guys that are going to help affect that pass rush this season?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And what you're seeing really, and from watching practice, is when they go to third down packages, Chicolo and Chad Thomas go inside. Those are the two guys who move in the tackle. Then you bring in the speed guys, the McCords, the Al-Qadin Muhammads. The guys are really just pass rushing specialists. Guys, their whole job is just to run after the quarterback and sack him. So, this is what Mark D'Onofrio has been trying to build for the last 3 years, getting enough depth in the defensive line where you don't have to play a kid 50, 60 snaps. Everybody can sort of split the job three ways, and you just get sort of a bevy of pass rushers that come in fresh, and every time you get in third down situations, they chase down the quarterback. So, but obviously to make that work, you need guys in the middle that are doing their job. And so, they feel like Calvin Hurtley, Olsen Pierre, those are two, solid options at the top. We'll see how Michael Weiss develops. He's a guy who came in, a little poorly conditioned. He has to lose weight, and the kid has skill and talent. You see it. He just has to get better conditions so he can be on the field longer.
Manny Navarro from the Miami Herald joins us here talking Canes football on the Amigo Show. I was looking at the schedule. I always hate to do this. It's always too early to do this, and sometimes it's not the right thing to do. But there's some road games that concern me. At Louisville, at Nebraska. For whatever it's worth, at Georgia Tech. It's not like we're great at handling the triple option. But, we've been able to handle them recently. We've played them well. But we've had a hard time defending them. And I think playing them on their turf could make for an interesting Saturday afternoon at Bobby Dodd. At Virginia Tech, whether they're good or not, it's a Thursday night game. That place will be a zoo. A lot of tough road games for this team, a team that's slated to win the Coastal Division. Your thoughts on how this team will perform on the road leading up to a late season rivalry game against the Florida State Seminoles, a game that, I don't know, you lose by 27, but that first half told me that they could play with them. It's just more a matter of depth than it is anything else. Your thoughts on that schedule and how it affects the season for them leading into that Florida State game?
Well, you're right. I mean, I think the first game at Louisville is not going to be easy just because it's Labor Day night. It's going to be an electric environment. Those guys are going to be fired up. It's Bobby Petrino's first game back as coach. And so that's going to be a tough test. I think Virginia Tech Thursday night is obviously another tough opponent. Never easy to play at Lane Stadium, especially with all those crazy Hokie fans. I've been there a bunch of times.
They're nuts.
When I've been there, it's a tough place to win. I went through the schedule, Larry, and people have asked me over the last couple of weeks, what do you think? My initial prediction before I even got a chance to see anybody at practice was 7-5, just because I still have reservations about the defense and there were questions about the quarterback position. Now that I've had 2 weeks to really look at it and watch them practice, I feel like I feel much better about the quarterback position than when camp started, when we didn't know what Jake Keep was, we didn't know if Brad Tyler would be able to contribute. I think both of those guys look pretty solid to me, and Miami can't go wrong with either one of them.
If you were a guy that wore a tie on Saturdays on the sidelines for the Miami Hurricanes with a name of your first name with 2 letters and your last name with 6 letters, who is very loyal to his defensive coordinator, which I'll get to in a second as well, who would you go with? Would you go with the 5th-year senior, or would you go with the young kid and try to cultivate giving him 3-4 good years under center with this program, with this system, with Coley in place as the OC?
Well, I think both of them are going to play this season no matter what. But I'd probably go with the 4th-year senior who has 30 starts under his belt. And granted, he wasn't very successful in the past, but he did play in the Big 12 Conference. He did play at BYU and have some success. So I would go with Jake Heap's opening night. If he struggles, you can always turn to Kaya and see how he does. I don't think you have to be necessarily married to the concept that whoever wins the starting job is going to be the quarterback the rest of the year. I don't think that's going to be the case at all.
I appreciate you making my producer look like a swami, because we were just having this argument. I said the guy they select in the beginning, I want him to be the quarterback until he gets hurt or something very bad happens. And he's telling me, no, I think we're going to see both quarterbacks. It's going to depend on the game. I don't like it, but that's what I think is going to happen. And then, of course, the expert comes on who's been going to practice every day for the last 2 weeks, and he tells me that my producer's right and I'm wrong. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I would even say I think there's a chance we see Ryan Williams at some point this season. Assuming he's healthy and he gets over the torn ACL. He's been out there already taking snaps with the first team and getting a chance to show guys, look, I can still throw the football. We just got to see how his knee is. But I think nobody should be married to the concept that whoever wins the job from day one is going to be the starter. In the end, whoever performs the best is going to be the guy who keeps the job the longest.
And it's interesting because I know Al Golden was asked about the depth chart, and he was asked if there was any chance that Ryan Williams would be able to go full speed in the next couple of weeks. He says there's a chance. So, indeed, depending on the circumstances, obviously if they're winning, whoever's winning for them is not going to lose his job. But if something wicked this way come, and with all those road games, I imagine it's not going to be – there's going to be a lot of ups and downs this season. I hope not, but that's what I'm expecting. It should be interesting what kind of comes out of that quarterback position. I'm more interested, as I alluded to earlier in my last question, Coach Golden is very loyal to Coach D'Onofrio. And I wanted your take on whether you think and I know you got to stay PC. I have as well, because coaches, we're all friends with Coach. We don't want to upset Coach. But Coach he'll make an argument as to why it has improved. There are things in football that go beyond the coach. It happens a lot. But in college football, fans and media tend to say that it's more about coaching than other things. In your opinion, is D'Onofrio the guy that can turn the corner with this defense? You can see that the talent is there now. I'll give him credit that in the beginning he was working with some stuff that wasn't easy for him to work with. They look like they may be turning a corner. There are still some holes in the defense. Based on what you've seen, do you foresee an improvement, and do you believe that the improvement comes at the hands of the fact that D'Onofrio's put a lot of hard work into trying to make this defense better over the last 2 or 3 years?
Well, one thing I want to point out, Larry, is that, this is really Al Golden's defense. And I know D'Onofrio gets the blame for all this because he's the guy calling the plays on Saturday. But the whole philosophy, the whole concept of who they're recruiting, all of that comes back to Al Golden. So that's why Al Golden defends Mark D'Onofrio to the death. It's not just that the fact that they're friends. It's the fact that Al feels a sense of responsibility for why they've been so bad, too. Obviously they've had things stacked up against them with the NCAA and all that, hurt them recruiting-wise. But, he's backed D'Onofrio's game planning and everything else from the get-go. So, look, the bottom line is they got more talent than they got last year. They're deeper. These are all 15 of those defensive linemen are guys that Golden and D'Onofrio recruited. The secondary is deeper. To me, they got they got to be better. There has to be improvement. They can't continue to be, the 66th ranked defense and scoring defense. They can't continue to get shredded by average quarterbacks. So, Al's got to step up to the plate this year, and if Denofa's not getting it done, he's going to have to make a change.
Manny Navarro joining us here from the Miami Herald here on the Amigo Show. Before I let you go, man, I know this is quality time, and I certainly appreciate you taking some of that quality time and joining us here. As we get through the season, and obviously that Florida State game looms big on the 15th, your thoughts on a program that obviously goes in direct competition with us when it comes to recruiting and everything else and creates the rivalry that is FSU-Miami. How important is it for Miami to be highly competitive in that game this year, reference or relevant to that recruiting? We always talk about the recruiting game, but it's how you execute on the field. The last 2 years, for whatever my eyes want to tell me that they've stayed competitive with them, they've been blown out in both games. I know, a couple years ago, I think it was tight in the fourth quarter, and last year the first half was real good and the second half was real bad. How does that affect the recruiting for this program? And more importantly, how important is it for them to come in this year into that game, be it what it may, whatever their record will be, to be much more competitive than they have in years past?
Well, I think the fact that they're home and not playing in Tallahassee, right off the bat, that they get blown out the same way, it's going to be pretty embarrassing. Al has to continue to show these recruits that the program really is on the rise, that they really are improving. And it's not just rhetoric. The kids aren't stupid. They hear the same things all these fans are saying. That defensive strategy isn't working, or why are they running this defense, or why are they running with that quarterback. They have to play well. I don't know if they necessarily have to win, but they got to play well. I think fans and recruits for the most part know that Florida State's just on another level right now. And they just won a national championship. They've had tremendous recruiting classes. They're loaded with talent. Jameis Winston is still there. I think most people know that Florida State's on another level, but you're right. They can't be embarrassed in that game. They gotta show up. They gotta play well, and it's gotta be a closer game than whatever the score was last year.
Manny, bro, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on and giving us some insight about the Hurricanes. Much obliged. Say hello to Susan for me, please. She's always a dear with me, always wonderful with me. Tell her the Amigo says what's up. I'll be seeing you at the games as, of course, yet another year of credentials and a good time covering this team. I do plan on writing a little more for State of the U as my pen is getting warmed up. I hit a big one last year, and then I just rode off in the sunset. Like a good prize fighter likes to fight every 18 months, I decided that I was going to retire on that Florida article that did so well for me. One of the best articles I've ever written. And I haven't done anything since. I'm a bum. So I'm certainly going to get involved a little more with stateoftheu.com this year again and writing some stuff. And you know that I like to give the overview of the historic portion of the Canes, but I think I'm going to get into a little bit of what this year's team and how important their development this year is to the future of the program. You could say that any year. I think this year it's a big part based on what we've been through over the last several years. I think this is a big, big moment in Canes football. It's going to be exciting to watch football this year.
Yeah, I think, if you're a Hurricanes fan, I've told people over and over again, be cautiously optimistic. You still have Duke Johnson, you still have Stacey Cole, you have a lot of weapons. If the quarterbacks are as good as they've been in practice these first 2 weeks, if Jake Heaps and Brad Kaya can get the job done and just do their job and get the ball, in the hands of the playmaker, it can be successful this season. And I think they can go anywhere from being 9-3 to, if the quarterback situation is bad and the linebacker situation is bad, then they could be as bad as 5-7 or 6-6. It's kind of that. It can swing either way that way. I think in my eyes. So. But I think this is going to be a better football team this year, and I think Mark Denofa's defense is going to look better. I think the quarterback's going to be solid, and they're going to be a competitive team. They're going to be fighting for that Coastal Division title.
All right, my friend. We'll have you on regularly throughout the season. I appreciate you taking time to talk to us about the Canes, man.
Anytime, Larry.
Take care, my friend. Manny Navarro from the Miami Herald. Always a good get. Love talking Canes football with him. So he made you look like a swami.
Yeah, buddy. If it's as close as it is, you kind of have to go in that way. Everybody's talking about the maturity level of this kid. I think this kid can handle it. Being a true freshman and all, I think this kid can handle it.
They better win that first game. Better win that first game in Louisville, brother.
So So if Heaps goes in as the starter and they get crushed in that game, you don't see a quarterback change?
Yeah, I do. But here's the thing. I get all of it, and he gave us the PC answer, man, he did. If the team seems to be rallying around Kaya more, then let's start him. But I just think that on a game-to-game basis, you all right? Yeah, on a game-to-game basis, if you have the guy with experience, maybe you not have experience with the program or with the offense that he's going to be playing in this year, but come on. Don't you feel more comfortable with a guy that feels like he has something to prove? Yeah, I know Kaya has something to prove, but Kaya also knows he has a few years. This is do or die for this guy. It's 10 football games, and that's it. I don't know. All right, let's take a couple calls before we get out of here. Let's go out to the phone lines. Joey, you're on with the Amigo. What's up, buddy? What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing good, buddy. Talk to me.
Hey, I just wanted to piggyback off of what I heard on 3-time coming on and using your show every Saturday.
Yeah, he's starting to beat me up a little bit. I need some defense here.
Well, I mean, there's something you said. He said that 5-ring argument doesn't mean any sense or whatever. Doesn't mean anything. And he's confused because it's not an argument. We have 5 rings.
That is true. Can't take them away. That's what I was trying to tell him. You can't take them away. If they let Notre Dame keep the one with the 4 horsemen, then they all count, right?
Yeah, he can keep calling it an argument if he wants. He's just confused, man. And I love all the negativity towards our quarterback competition.
What's your take on it? Like, what do you think the Canes should do?
I mean, hey, my personal opinion doesn't necessarily matter to coaches, but I'm all for putting the best 11 guys on the field. And if Brad Kaya is one of the top 11 on offense, put him on the field. And I think it's a good opportunity for James Coley to have one guy he developed at the quarterback position. Nobody gives him any credit for what he had and what he was involved with at FSU on offense. And from a quarterback development standpoint, all of that recognition falls on Jimbo. And I know he wasn't one calling the plays or having direct, coaching impact on these guys, but he had an impact. So I think if they go up the dice and go with Kaya, I think it's a good opportunity for James Coley. I think it's a great opportunity for Brad Kaya as well. Based on what I'm hearing, this kid's a leader, though.
Yeah, that's what we've been. I mean, we got feedback from Manny about that. We've been hearing just that the guy's the kind of guy that he gets it. He's getting along with his teammates. He understands what it's going to take. A lot of stuff that's good to hear. But I can't shake the notion that the guy who's a few years older, who's taken a few hits in games, and a guy who has something to prove because he knows the time clock is about to run out, might not be a bad option going into the season and seeing how it plays out. But certainly, if he's the leader they think he is, and they recruited him to be that leader, and they go with him, it seems as if it's not going to be a bad decision either. I mean, I seem to be in the minority being concerned about it.
Yeah, and Amigo, let me ask you, who was the last quarterback that we had at the University of Miami that you thought was a true leader and taking complete control of the team and just drive us down the field and winning football games?
Brock Berlin.
I can agree with that.
Brock Berlin. I mean, I thought at one point Ja'Cory could be that guy, but we floated in and out of it. And Morris, I never, for some reason, after his early wins and some of the things he did, because he's a good passer, but I started losing confidence in him. And no.
And with Ja'Cory and in his defense, he did have 3 offensive coordinators in 4 years, so he never really had a great chance to really take control of the offense. But I'll end it with a quote from Brad Kaya. And this is why I asked you that question. He said, if I was coming to Miami to go to this city, to go out, I would have stayed home. I came here to play football. My decision was based off of what I can do on the football field.